India People and Economy. Textbook in Geography for Class 12. Forward rationalization of content in the textbooks v. Unit I. 2. Human Settlements 15 to 20 Unit 3. 3. Land Resources and Agriculture 21 to 40. 4. Water Resources 41 to 52. 5. Mineral and Energy Resources 53 to 65. 6. Planning and Sustainable Development in Indian Context 66 to 74 Unit 4. 7. Transport and Communication 75 to 85. 8. International Trade 86 to 94 Unit V. 9. Geographical Perspective on Selected Issues and Problems 95 to 105 Appendices 106 to 114 Glossary 115 References 116 to 117. 3. 1. Population, Distribution, Density, Growth and Composition 1 to 14 Unit 2. Contents. Unit I Unit I Unit I Unit I Unit I Chapter 1. Population, Distribution, Density, Growth and Composition. The people are a very important component of a country. India is the second most populous country after China in the world with its total population of 1,210 million, 2011. India's population is larger than the total population of North America, South America and Australia put together. More often, it is argued that such a large population invariably puts pressure on its limited resources and is also responsible for many socioeconomic problems in the country. How do you perceive the idea of India? Is it simply a territory? Does this signify an amalgam of people? Is it a territory inhabited by people living under certain institutions of governance? In this chapter, we will discuss the patterns of distribution, density, growth and composition of India's population. Sources of population data. 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 Population data are collected through census operation held every 10 years in our country. The first population census in India was conducted in 1872, but its first complete census was conducted only in 1881. Distribution of PPPP popula population Tian. Examine figure 1.1 and try to describe the patterns of spatial distribution of population shown on it. It is clear that India has a highly uneven pattern of population distribution. The percentage shares of population of the states and union territories in the country, Appendix, show that Uttar Pradesh has the highest population followed by Maharashtra, Bihar and West Bengal. Looking at the data in Appendix I, arrange the Indian states and union territories according to their sizes and population and find out. Figure 1.1, India Distribution of Population. Population, Distribution, Density, Growth and Composition. Check from the table, Appendix IA, that UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh along with Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Karnataka and Gujarat together account for about 76% of the total population of the country. On the other hand, share of population is very small in the states like Jammu and Kashmir, 1.04%, Arunachal Pradesh, 0.11%, and Uttarakhand, 0.84%, in spite of these states having fairly large geographical area. Such an uneven spatial distribution of population in India suggests a close relationship between population and physical, socioeconomic, and historical factors. As far as the physical factors are concerned, it is clear that climate along with terrain and availability of water largely determines the pattern of the population distribution. Consequently, we observe that the North Indian plains, deltas and coastal plains have higher proportion of population than the interior districts of southern and central Indian states, Himalayas, some of the northeastern and the western states. However, development of irrigation, Rajasthan, availability of mineral and energy resources, Jharkhand, and development of transport network, peninsular states, have resulted in moderate to high concentration of population in areas which were previously very thinly populated. Among the socioeconomic and historical factors of distribution of population, important ones are evolution of settled agriculture and agricultural development, pattern of human settlement, development of transport network, industrialization and urbanization. It is observed that the regions falling in the river plains and coastal areas of India have remained the regions of larger population concentration. Even though the uses of natural resources like land and water in these regions have shown the sign of degradation, the concentration of population remains high because of an early history of human settlement and development of transport network. On the other hand, the urban regions of Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai and Jaipur have high concentration of population due to industrial development and urbanization drawing a large numbers of rural-urban migrants. Density of PPPP population Tian. Density of population is expressed as number of persons per unit area. It helps in getting a better understanding of the spatial distribution of population in relation to land. The density of population in India, 2011, is 382 persons per square km. There has been a steady increase of more than 200 persons per square km over the last 50 years as the density of population increased from 117 persons/sq/km in 1951 to 382 persons/sq/km in 2011. The data shown in Appendix I give an idea of spatial variation of population densities in the country, which ranges from as low as 17 persons per square km in Arunachal Pradesh to 11,297 persons in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Among the northern Indian states, Bihar 1102, West Bengal 1029, and in Uttar Pradesh 828 have higher densities, while Kerala 859 and Tamil Nadu 555 have higher densities among the peninsular Indian states. States like Assam, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Odisha have moderate densities. The hill states of the Himalayan region and northeastern states of India, excluding Assam, have relatively low densities, while the Union territories, excluding Andaman and Nicobar Islands, have very high densities of population. Appendix I. The density of population, as discussed in the earlier paragraph, is a crude measure of human and land relationship. To get a better insight into the human-land ratio in terms of pressure of population on total cultivable land, the physiological and the agricultural densities should be found out, which are significant for a country like India having a large agricultural population. Figure 1.2. India density of population. Physiological density equals total population/net cultivated area. Agricultural density equals total agricultural population/net cultivable area. Agricultural population includes cultivators and agricultural laborers and their family members. With the help of data given in Appendix 2, calculate the physiological and agricultural densities of population of Indian states and union territories. Compare them with density of population and see how are these different? Growth of PPPP population Tian. Growth of population is the change in the number of people living in a particular area between 2 points of time. Its rate is expressed in percentage. Population growth has two components, namely natural and induced. While the natural growth is analyzed by assessing the crude birth and death rates, the induced components are explained by the volume of inward and outward movement of people in any given area. However, in the present chapter, we will only discuss the natural growth of India's population. The decadal and annual growth rates of population in India are both very high and steadily increasing over time. The annual growth rate of India's population is 1.64%, 2011. Population doubling time. Population doubling time is the time taken by any population to double itself at its current annual growth rate. The growth rate of population in India over the last 1 century has been caused by annual birth rate and death rate and rate of migration, and thereby shows different trends. There are 4 distinct phases of growth identified within this period. Table 1.1, Decadal growth rates in India, 1901 to 2011. Figure 1.3, India, growth of population. Population, distribution, density, growth and composition. Phase 1, the period from 1901 to 1921 is referred to as a period of stagnant or stationary phase of growth of India's population, since in this period growth rate was very low, even recording a negative growth rate during 1911 to 1921. Both the birth rate and death rate were high, keeping the rate of increase low. Appendix 3. Poor health and medical services, illiteracy of people at large, and inefficient distribution system of food and other basic necessities were largely responsible for high birth and death rates in this period. Phase 2, the decades 1921 to 1951 are referred to as the period of steady population growth. An overall improvement in health and sanitation throughout the country brought down the mortality rate. At the same time, better transport and communication system improved distribution system. The crude birth rate remained high in this period, leading to higher growth rate than the previous phase. This is impressive at the backdrop of Great Economic Depression, 1920s and World War II. Phase 3, the decades 1951 to 1981 are referred to as the period of population explosion in India, which was caused by a rapid fall in the mortality rate but a high fertility rate of population in the country. The average annual growth rate was as high as 2.2%. It is in this period after the independence that developmental activities were introduced through a centralized planning process and economy started showing up, ensuring the improvement of living condition of people at large. Consequently, there was a high natural increase and higher growth rate. Besides, increased international migration bringing in Tibetans, Bangladeshis, Nepalis, and even people from Pakistan contributed to the high growth rate. Phase 4, in the post-1981 till present, the growth rate of country's population, though remained high, has started slowing down gradually. Table 1.1. A downward trend of crude birth rate is held responsible for such a population growth. This was, in turn, affected by an increase in the mean age at marriage, improved quality of life, particularly education of females in the country. The growth rate of population is, however, still high in the country, and it has been projected by World Development Report that population of India will touch 1,350 million by 2025. The analysis done so far shows the average growth rate, but the country also has wide variation. Appendix 4 in growth rates from one area to another, which is discussed below. Regional vaginal varia areation in PPPP population growth oath. The growth rate of population during 1991-2001 in Indian states and union territories shows very obvious pattern. The states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Puducherry, and Goa show a low rate of growth not exceeding 20% over the decade. Kerala registered the lowest growth rate, 9.4, not only in this group of states but also in the country as a whole. A continuous belt of states from west to east in the northwest, north, and north-central parts of the country has relatively high growth rate than the southern states. It is in this belt comprising Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand. The growth rate on the average remained 20 to 25%. During 2001 to 2011, the growth rates of almost all states and union territories have registered a lower figure compared to the previous decade, namely 1991 to 2001. The percentage decadal growth rates of the 6 most populous states, namely Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, have all fallen during 2001 to 2011 compared to 1991 to 2001, the fall being the lowest for Andhra Pradesh, 3.5% percentage points, and highest for Maharashtra, 6.7 percentage points. Tamil Nadu, 3.9 percentage points, and Puducherry, 7.1 percentage points, have registered some increase during 2001 to 2011 over the previous decade. With the help of data given in Appendix I and IA, compare the growth rate of population of different states/UTs between 1991 to 2001 and 2001 to 2011. Take the population growth data of the districts/selected districts of your respective state for total male and female population and represent them with the help of composite bar graph. An important aspect of population growth in India is the growth of its adolescents. At present, the share of adolescents, i.e. up to the age group of 10 to 19 years, is about 20.9%, 2011, among which male adolescents constitute 52.7% and female adolescents constitute 47.3%. The adolescent population, though regarded as the youthful population having high potentials, but at the same time they are quite vulnerable if not guided and channelized properly. There are many challenges for the society as far as these adolescents are concerned, some of which are lower age at marriage, illiteracy, particularly female illiteracy, school dropouts, low intake of nutrients, high rate of maternal mortality of adolescent mothers, high rate of HIV and AIDS infections, physical and mental disability or retardedness, drug abuse and alcoholism, juvenile delinquency and committance of crimes, etc. In view of these, the Government of India has undertaken certain policies to impart proper education to the adolescent groups so that their talents are better channelized and properly utilized. The National Youth Policy is one example which has been designed to look into the overall development of our large youth and adolescent population. The National Youth Policy, NYP 2014, launched in February 2014, proposes a holistic vision for the youth of India, which is to empower the youth of the country to achieve their full potential, and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the community of nations. The NYP 2014 has defined youth as persons in the age group of 15 to 29 years. The Government of India also formulated the National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in 2015 to provide an umbrella framework to all skilling activities being carried out within the country, and to align these to common standards and link skilling with demand centers. It appears from the above discussion that the growth rate of population is widely variant over space and time in the country and also highlights various social problems related to the growth of population. However, in order to have a better insight into the growth pattern of population, it is also necessary to look into the social composition of population. Popula population composition tie-in composition tie-in composition tie-in composition tie-in composition. Population composition is a distinct field of study within population geography with a vast coverage of analysis of age and sex, place of residence, ethnic characteristics, tribes, language, religion, marital status, literacy and education, occupational characteristics, etc. In this section, the composition of Indian population with respect to their rural-urban characteristics, language, religion, and pattern of occupation will be discussed. Rural-urban composition. Composition of population by their respective places of residence is an important indicator of social and economic characteristics. This becomes even more significant for a country where about 68.8% of its total population lives in village. 2011. Population, distribution, density, growth and composition. Compare the data given in Appendix 4 and 4A. Calculate the percentages of rural population of the states in India and represent them cartographically on a map of India. Do you know that India has 640,867 villages according to the census 2011, out of which 597,608, 93.2%, are inhabited villages? However, the distribution of rural population is not uniform throughout the country. You might have noted that the states like Himachal Pradesh and Bihar have very high percentage of rural population. The states of Goa and Mizoram have only little over half of their total population residing in villages. The Union territories, on the other hand, have smaller proportion of rural population except Dadra and Nagar Haveli, 53.38%. The size of villages also varies considerably. It is less than 200 persons in the hill states of northeastern India, western Rajasthan and Rann of Kutch, and as high as 17,000 persons in the states of Kerala and in parts of Maharashtra. A thorough examination of the pattern of distribution of rural population of India reveals that both at intrastate and interstate levels, the relative degree of urbanization and extent of rural-urban migration regulate the concentration of rural population. You have noted that contrary to rural population, the proportion of urban population, 31.16%, in India is quite low, but it is showing a much faster rate of growth over the decades. The growth rate of urban population has accelerated due to enhanced economic development and improvement in health and hygienic conditions. The distribution of urban population too, as in the case of total population, has a wide variation throughout the country. Appendix 4. Compare the data of Appendix 4 and 4A and identify the states/UTs with very high and very low proportion of urban population. It is, however, noticed that in almost all the states and union territories there has been a considerable increase of urban population. This indicates both development of urban areas in terms of socio-economic conditions and an increased rate of rural-urban migration. The rural-urban migration is conspicuous in the case of urban areas along the main road links and railroads in the North Indian plains, the industrial areas around Kolkata, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Mysore, Madurai, Coimbatore, Ahmedabad, Surat, Delhi, Kanpur, and Ludhiana, Jalandhar. In the agriculturally stagnant parts of the middle and lower Ganga plains, Telangana, non-irrigated western Rajasthan, remote hilly, tribal areas of northeast, along the flood-prone areas of peninsular India and along eastern part of Madhya Pradesh, the degree of urbanization has remained low. Linguistic composition. India is a land of linguistic diversity. According to Grierson, Linguistic Survey of India, 1903 to 1928, there were 179 languages and as many as 544 dialects in the country. In the context of modern India, there are about 22 scheduled languages and a number of non-scheduled languages. See how many languages appear on a 10 rupees note. Among the scheduled languages, the speakers of Hindi have the highest percentage. The smallest language groups are Sanskrit, Bodo, and Manipuri speakers. 2011. However, it is noticed that the linguistic regions in the country do not have a sharp and distinct boundary, rather they gradually merge and overlap in their respective frontier zones. Linguistic classification. The speakers of major Indian languages belong to 4 language families, which have their subfamilies and branches or groups. This can be better understood from Table 1.2. Religious composition. Religion is one of the most dominant forces affecting the cultural and political life of the majority of Indians. Since religion virtually permeates into almost all the aspects of people's family and community lives, it is important to study the religious composition in detail. India, people and economy. Muslims, the largest religious minority, are concentrated in Jammu and Kashmir, certain districts of West Bengal and Kerala, many districts of Uttar Pradesh, in and around Delhi and in Lakshadweep. They form majority in Kashmir Valley and Lakshadweep. Table 1.2 Classification of Modern Indian Languages. Source: Ahmed, A. 1999 Social Geography, Rawa Publication, New Delhi. The spatial distribution of religious communities in the country, Appendix V, shows that there are certain states and districts having large numerical strength of one religion while the same may be very negligibly represented in other states. Hindus are distributed as a major group in many states ranging from 70 to 90% and above, except the districts of states along Indo-Bangladesh border, Indo-Pak border, Jammu and Kashmir, hill states of northeast and in scattered areas of Deccan Plateau and Ganga Plain. Look at Table 1.2 and prepare a pie diagram of linguistic composition of India showing the sectoral shares of each linguistic group. Or, prepare a qualitative symbol map of India showing the distribution of different linguistic groups in the country. Table 1.3, Religious Communities of India, 2011. Source, Census of India, 2011. Population, distribution, density, growth and composition. The Christian population is distributed mostly in rural areas of the country. The main concentration is observed along the western coast around Goa, Kerala and also in the hill states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Chotanagpur area and hills of Manipur. Sikhs are mostly concentrated in relatively small area of the country, particularly in the states of Punjab, Haryana and Delhi. Jains and Buddhists, the smallest religious groups in India, have their concentration only in selected areas of the country. Jains have major concentration in the urban areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Maharashtra, while the Buddhists are concentrated mostly in Maharashtra. The other areas of Buddhist majority are Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh in Jammu and Kashmir, Tripura and Lahore and Spiti in Himachal Pradesh. The other religions of India include Zoroastrians, tribal and other indigenous faiths and beliefs. These groups are concentrated in small pockets scattered throughout the country. Composition of working population. The population of India according to their economic status is divided into three groups, namely, main workers, marginal workers and non-workers. It is observed that in India, the proportion of workers, both main and marginal, is only 39.8%, 2011, leaving a vast majority of about 60% as non-workers. This indicates an economic status in which there is a larger proportion of dependent population, further indicating possible existence of large number of unemployed or underemployed people. What is work participation rate? The proportion of working population of the states and union territories show a variation from about 29.1% in Lakshadweep to about 51.9% in Himachal Pradesh. The states with larger percentages of workers are Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Meghalaya. Among the union territories, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu have higher participation rate. It is understood that, in the context of a country like India, the work participation rate tends to be higher in the areas of lower levels of economic development since number of manual workers are needed to perform the subsistence or near-subsistence economic activities. The occupational composition (C-box) of India's population, which actually means engagement of an individual in farming, manufacturing, trade, services or any kind of professional activities, show a large proportion of primary sector workers compared to secondary and tertiary sectors. About 54.6% of total working population are cultivators and agricultural laborers, whereas only 3.8% of workers are engaged in household industries and 41.6% are other workers including non-household industries, trade, commerce, construction and repair and other services. As far as the occupation of country's male and female population is concerned, male workers outnumber female workers in all the three sectors, Figure 1.4 and Table 1.4. Religion and landscape, religion and landscape, religion and landscape, religion and landscape, religion and landscape. Formal expression of religions on landscape is manifested through sacred structures, use of cemeteries and assemblages of plants and animals, groves of trees for religious purposes. Sacred structures are widely distributed throughout the country. These may range from inconspicuous village shrines to large Hindu temples, monumental masjids or ornately designed cathedrals in large metropolitan cities. These temples, masjids, gurudwaras, monasteries and churches differ in size, form, space, use and density while attributing a special dimension to the total landscape of the area. Standard census definition, standard census definition, standard census definition, standard census definition, standard census definition. Main worker is a person who works for at least 183 days or 6 months in a year. Marginal worker is a person who works for less than 183 days or 6 months in a year. 12. India, people and economy. Figure 1.4, India occupational structure. Figure 1.4, India occupational structure, 2011. Promoting gender sensitivity through Beti Bachao social campaign. The division of the society into male, female and transgender is believed to be natural and biological. But, in reality, there are social constructs and roles assigned to individuals which are reinforced by social institutions. Consequently, these biological differences become the basis of social differentiations, discriminations and exclusions. The exclusion of over half of the population becomes a serious handicap to any developing and civilized society. It is a global challenge which has been acknowledged by the UNDP when it mentioned that if development is not engendered, it is endangered. HDR UNDP 1995. Discrimination in general and gender discrimination in particular is a crime against humanity. All efforts need to be made to address the denial of opportunities of education, employment, political representation, low wages for similar types of work, disregard to their entitlement to live a dignified life, etc. A society which fails to acknowledge and take effective measures to remove such discriminations cannot be treated as a civilized one. The government of India has duly acknowledged the adverse impacts of these discriminations and launched a nationwide campaign called Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Occupational categories. The 2011 census has divided the working population of India into 4 major categories. 1. Cultivators. 2. Agricultural laborers. 3. Household industrial workers. 4. Other workers. Table 1.4 Sectoral composition of workforce in India 2011. Categories: population. Persons percent to male-female total workers. Primary 26, 30, 22, 4, 73, 54.6, 16, 54, 47, 0, 75, 9, 75, 75, 3, 98. Secondary 1, 83, 36, 307, 3.897, 75, 635, 85, 60, 672. Tertiary 20, 03, 84, 5, 31, 41.6, 15, 66, 43, 2, 24, 37, 41, 311. Population, distribution, density, growth and composition. 13. Increase. This indicates a shift of dependence of workers from farm-based occupations to non-farm-based ones, indicating a sectoral shift in the economy of the country. The spatial variation of work participation rate in different sectors in the country, Appendix V and VA, is very wide. For instance, the states like Himachal Pradesh and Nagaland have very large shares of cultivators. On the other hand, states like Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh have higher proportion of agricultural laborers. The highly urbanized areas like Delhi, Chandigarh and Puducherry have a very large proportion of workers being engaged in other services. This indicates not only availability of limited farming land, but also large-scale urbanization and industrialization requiring more workers in non-farm sectors. Exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the followings from the given options. I. India's population as per 2011 census is A. 1028 million, C. 3,287 million, B. 3,182 million, D. 1210 million. 2. Which one of the following states has the highest density of population in India? A. West Bengal, C. Uttar Pradesh, B. Kerala, D. Bihar. 3. Which one of the following states has the highest proportion of urban population in India according to 2011 census? A. Tamil Nadu, C. Kerala, B. Maharashtra, D. Goa. 4. Which one of the following is the largest linguistic group of India? A. Sino-Tibetan, C. Austric, B. Indo-Aryan, D. Dravidian. Prepare composite bar graphs, one for India and the other for your respective states, showing the proportion of male and female workers in agriculture, household industries and other sectors, and compare. The number of female workers is relatively high in primary sector, though in recent years there has been some improvement in work participation of women in secondary and tertiary sectors. It is important to note that the proportion of workers in agricultural sector in India has shown a decline over the last few decades, 58.2% in 2001 to 54.6% in 2011. Consequently, the participation rate in secondary and tertiary sector has registered in 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. Very hot and dry and very cold and wet regions of India have low density of population. In this light, explain the role of climate on the distribution of population. 2. Which states have large rural population in India? Give one reason for such large rural population. 3. Why do some states of India have higher rates of work participation than others? 4. The agricultural sector has the largest share of Indian workers. Explain. 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Discuss the spatial pattern of density of population in India. 2. Give an account of the occupational structure of India's population. Unit 2, Unit 2, Unit 2, Unit 2, Unit 2, Chapter 2. Human settlements. Human settlement means cluster of dwellings of any type or size where human beings live. For this purpose, people may erect houses and other structures and command some area or territory as their economic support base. Thus, the process of settlement inherently involves grouping of people and apportioning of territory as their resource base. Settlements vary in size and type. They range from a hamlet to metropolitan cities. With size, the economic character and social structure of settlements changes, and so do its ecology and technology. Settlements could be small and sparsely spaced. They may also be large and closely spaced. The sparsely located small settlements are called villages, specializing in agriculture or other primary activities. On the other hand, there are fewer but larger settlements which are termed as urban settlements, specializing in secondary and tertiary activities. The basic differences between rural and urban settlements are as follows. The rural settlements derive their life support or basic economic needs from land-based primary economic activities, whereas urban settlements depend on processing of raw materials and manufacturing of finished goods on the one hand and a variety of services on the other. Cities act as nodes of economic growth, provide goods and services not only to urban dwellers but also to the people of the rural settlements in their hinterlands in return for food and raw materials. This functional relationship between the urban and rural settlements takes place through transport and communication network. Rural and urban settlements differ in terms of social relationship, attitude, and outlook. Rural people are less mobile and therefore social relations among them are intimate. In urban areas, on the other hand, way of life is complex and fast and social relations are formal. Types of Ural settlement, Al settlement, Al settlement, Al settlement, Al settlement. Types of the settlement are determined by the extent of the built-up area and interhouse. India, people and economy. Semi-clustered settlements. Semi-clustered or fragmented settlements may result from tendency of clustering in a restricted area of dispersed settlement. More often, such a pattern may also result from segregation or fragmentation of a large compact village. In this case, one or more sections of the village society choose or is forced to live a little away from the main cluster or village. In such cases, generally, the landowning and dominant community occupies the central part of the main village, whereas people of lower strata of society and menial workers settle on the outer flanks of the village. Such settlements are widespread in the Gujarat plain and some parts of Rajasthan. Distance. In India, compact or clustered village of a few hundred houses is a rather universal feature, particularly in the northern plains. However, there are several areas which have other forms of rural settlements. There are various factors and conditions responsible for having different types of rural settlements in India. These include physical features, nature of terrain, altitude, climate, and availability of water. 2. Cultural and ethnic factors, social structure, caste and religion. 3. Security factors, defense against thefts and robberies. Rural settlements in India can broadly be put into 4 types. Clustered, agglomerated or nucleated, semi-clustered or fragmented, hamlet, and dispersed or isolated. Clustered settlements. The clustered rural settlement is a compact or closely built-up area of houses. In this type of village, the general living area is distinct and separated from the surrounding farms, barns, and pastures. The closely built-up area and its intervening streets present some recognizable pattern or geometric shape, such as rectangular, radial, linear, etc. Such settlements are generally found in fertile alluvial plains and in the northeastern states. Sometimes people live in compact village for security or defense reasons, such as in the Bundelkhand region of central India and in Nagaland. In Rajasthan, scarcity of water has necessitated compact settlement for maximum utilization of available water resources. Hamlet settlements. Sometimes settlement is fragmented into several units physically separated from each other bearing a common name. These units are locally called Punna, Para, Pali, Nagla, Dani, etc. in various parts of the country. This segmentation of a large village is often motivated by social and ethnic factors. Such villages are more frequently found in the middle and lower Ganga plain, Chhattisgarh, and lower valleys of the Himalayas. Dispersed settlements. Dispersed or isolated settlement pattern in India appears in the form of isolated huts or hamlets of few huts in remote jungles or on small hills. Figure 2.1, Clustered settlements in the northeastern states. Figure 2.2, Semi-clustered settlements. Human settlements. 17. Evolution in different periods. Indian towns may be classified as ancient towns, medieval towns, and modern towns. Ancient towns. There are a number of towns in India having historical background spanning over 2,000 years. Most of them developed as religious and cultural centers. Varanasi is one of the important towns among these. Prayag, Allahabad, Pataliputra, Patna, Madurai are some other examples of ancient towns in the country. Medieval towns. About 100 of the existing towns have their roots in the medieval period. Most of them developed as headquarters of principalities and kingdoms. These are fort towns which came up on the ruins of ancient towns. Important among them are Delhi, Hyderabad, Jaipur, Lucknow, Agra, and Nagpur. Modern towns. The British and other Europeans have developed a number of towns in India. Starting their foothold on coastal locations, they first developed some trading ports such as Surat, Daman, Goa, Pondicherry, etc. The British later consolidated their hold around 3 principal nodes: Mumbai, Bombay, Chennai, Madras. and Kolkata, Calcutta, and built them in the British style. Rapidly. With farms or pasture on the slopes. Extreme dispersion of settlement is often caused by extremely fragmented nature of the terrain and land resource base of habitable areas. Many areas of Meghalaya, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, and Kerala have this type of settlement. Urban settlements, urban settlements, urban settlements, urban settlements, urban settlements. Unlike rural settlements, urban settlements are generally compact and larger in size. They are engaged in a variety of non-agricultural, economic, and administrative functions. As mentioned earlier, cities are functionally linked to rural areas around them. Thus, exchange of goods and services is performed sometimes directly and sometimes through a series of market towns and cities. Thus, cities are connected directly as well as indirectly with the villages and also with each other. Extending their domination either directly or through control over the princely states, they established their administrative centers, hill towns as summer resorts, and added new civil. The Census of India 1991 defines urban settlements as all places which have municipality, corporation, cantonment board or notified town area committee and have a minimum population of 5,000 persons. At least 75% of male workers are engaged in non-agriculture pursuits and a density of population of at least 400 persons per square kilometer are urban. Figure 2.4, a view of the modern city. Figure 2.3, dispersed settlements in Nagaland. Evolution of TTTT towns in India owns in India owns in India owns in India owns in India. Towns flourished since prehistoric times in India. Even at the time of Indus Valley Civilization, towns like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were in existence. The following period has witnessed evolution of towns. It continued with periodic ups and downs until the arrival of Europeans in India in the 18th century. On the basis of their India, people and economy. Table 2.1, India, Trends of Urbanization 1901 to 2011. Administrative and military areas to them. Towns based on modern industries also evolved after 1850. Jamshedpur can be cited as an example. After independence, a large number of towns have been developed as administrative headquarters, e.g., Chandigarh, Bhubaneswar, Gandhinagar, Dispur, etc., and industrial centers such as Durgapur, Bhilai, Sindri, Bhaurani. Some old towns also developed as satellite towns around metropolitan cities such as Ghaziabad, Rohtak, Gurugram around Delhi. With increasing investment in rural areas, a large number of medium and small towns have developed all over the country. Urbanization in India, urbanization in India, urbanization in India, urbanization in India, urbanization in India. The level of urbanization is measured in terms of percentage of urban population to total population. The level of urbanization in India in 2011 was 31.16%, which is quite low in comparison to developed countries. Total urban population has increased 11-fold during the 20th century. Enlargement of urban centers and emergence of new towns have played a significant role in the growth of urban population and urbanization in the country. Table 2, 1. BUTTHEGROWTHRATEOF urbanization has slowed down during last 2 decades. Asterisk source, Census of India 2011 http. Provisional. Functional classification of towns. Apart from their role as central or nodal places, many towns and cities perform specialized services. Some towns and cities specialize in certain functions and they are known for some specific activities, products, or services. However, each town performs a number of functions. On the basis of dominant or specialized functions, Indian cities and towns can be broadly classified as follows. Administrative towns and cities. Towns supporting administrative headquarters of higher order are administrative towns such as Chandigarh, New Delhi, Bhopal, Shillong, Guwahati, Imphal, Srinagar, Gandhinagar, Jaipur, Chennai, etc. Industrial towns. Industries constitute prime motive force of these cities, such as Mumbai, Salem, Coimbatore, Modingarh, Jamshedpur, Hugli, Bhilai, etc. Transport cities. They may be ports primarily engaged in export and import activities such as Kandla, Kochi, Kozhikode, Vishakhapatnam, etc., or hubs of inland transport such as Agra, Dhulia, Mughalsaraya, Itarsi, Kutni, etc. Human settlements 19. Commercial towns. Towns and cities specializing in trade and commerce are kept in this class. Kolkata, Saharanpur, Satna, etc. are some examples. Mining towns. These towns have developed in mineral-rich areas such as Raniganj, Jharia, Digboi, Ankleshwar, Singarauli, etc. Garrison cantonment towns. These towns emerged as garrison towns such as Ambala, Jalandhar, Mo, Babina, Uthmapur, etc. List the urban agglomerations/cities state-wise and see the state-wise population under this category of cities. Smart Cities Mission, Smart Cities Mission, Smart Cities Mission, Smart Cities Mission, Smart Cities Mission. The objective of the Smart Cities mission is to promote cities that provide core infrastructure, a clean and sustainable environment, and give a decent quality of life to its citizens. One of the features of smart cities is to apply smart solutions to infrastructure and services in order to make them better. For example, making areas less vulnerable to disasters, using fewer resources, and providing cheaper services. The focus is on sustainable and inclusive development, and the idea is to look at compact areas, create a replicable model which will act like a lighthouse to other aspiring cities. Educational towns. Starting as centers of education, some of the towns have grown into major campus towns such as Roorkee, Varanasi, Aligarh, Pilani, Allahabad, etc. Religious and cultural towns. Varanasi, Mathura, Amritsar, Madurai, Puri, Ajmer, Pushkar, Tirupati, Kurukshetra, Haridwar, Ujjain came to prominence due to their religious/cultural significance. Tourist towns. Nainital, Mussoorie, Shimla, Pachmari, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer, Udagamandlam, Udi, Mount Abu are some of the tourist destinations. The cities are not static in their function. The functions change due to their dynamic nature. Even specialized cities, as they grow into metropolises, become multifunctional, wherein industry, business, administration, transport, etc. become important. The functions get so intertwined that the city cannot be categorized in a particular functional class. Exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. I. Which one of the following towns is not located on a riverbank? A. Agra. C. Patna. B. Bhopal. D. Kolkata. 2. Which one of the following is not the part of the definition of a town as per the Census of India? A. Population density of 400 persons per square km. B. Presence of municipality, corporation, etc. C. More than 75% of the population engaged in primary sector. D. Population size of more than 5,000 persons. 3. In which one of the following environments does one expect the presence of dispersed rural settlements? A. Alluvial plains of Ganga. B. Arid and semi-arid regions of Rajasthan. C. Lower valleys of Himalayas. D. Forests and hills in northeast. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. What are garrison towns? What is their function? 2. What are the main factors for the location of villages in desert regions? 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Discuss the features of different types of rural settlements. What are the factors responsible for the settlement patterns in different physical environments? 2. Can one imagine the presence of only one function town? Why did the cities become multifunctional? Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Chapter 3. Land resources and agriculture. You must have observed that the land around you is put to different uses. Some land is occupied by rivers, some may have trees, and on some parts roads and buildings have been built. Different types of lands are suited to different uses. Human beings thus use land as a resource for production as well as residence and recreation. Thus, the building of your school, roads on which you travel, parks in which you play, fields in which crops are grown, and the pastures where animals graze represent different uses to which land is put. Land use categories. 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 Land use records are maintained by Land Revenue Department. The land use categories add up to reporting area, which is somewhat different from the geographical area. The Survey of India is responsible for measuring geographical area of administrative units in India. Have you ever used a map prepared by Survey of India? The difference between the two concepts are that while the former changes somewhat depending on the estimates of the land revenue records, the latter does not change and stays fixed as per Survey of India measurements. You may be familiar with land use categories as they are also included in your social science textbook of Class X. The land use categories as maintained in the land revenue records are as follows. I. Forests. It is important to note that area under actual forest cover is different from area classified as forest. The latter is the area which the government has identified and demarcated for forest growth. The land revenue records are consistent with the latter definition. Thus, there may be an increase in this category without any increase in the actual forest cover. 2. Barren and wastelands. The land which may be classified as a wasteland such as barren hilly terrains, desert lands, ravines, etc. normally cannot be brought under cultivation with the available technology. 22. India, people and economy. 3. Land put to non-agricultural uses, land under settlements, rural and urban, infrastructure, roads, canals, etc., industries, shops, etc. are included in this category. An expansion in the secondary and tertiary activities would lead to an increase in this category of land use. 4. Area under permanent pastures and grazing lands. Most of this type land is owned by the village panchayat or the government. Only a small proportion of this land is privately owned. The land owned by the village panchayat comes under common property resources. V. Area under miscellaneous tree crops and groves not included in net zone area. The land under orchards and fruit trees are included in this category. Much of this land is privately owned. 6. Cultivable wasteland. Any land which is left fallow, uncultivated, for more than 5 years is included in this category. It can be brought under cultivation after improving it through reclamation practices. 7. Current fallow. This is the land which is left without cultivation for 1 or less than 1 agricultural year. Fallowing is a cultural practice adopted for giving the land rest. The land recoups the lost fertility through natural processes. 8. Fallow other than current fallow. This is also a cultivable land which is left uncultivated for more than a year but less than 5 years. If the land is left uncultivated for more than 5 years, it would be categorized as cultivable wasteland. 9. Net area sown. The physical extent of land on which crops are sown and harvested is known as net sown area. Land use changes in India. 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 Land use in a region, to a large extent, is influenced by the nature of economic activities carried out in that region. However, while economic activities change over time, land, like many other natural resources, is fixed in terms of its area. At this stage, one needs to appreciate 3 types of changes that an economy undergoes which affect land use. I. The size of the economy, measured in terms of value for all the goods and services produced in the economy, grows over time as a result of increasing population, change in income levels, available technology, and associated factors. As a result, the pressure on land will increase with time and marginal lands would come under use. 2. Secondly, the composition of the economy would undergo a change over time. In other words, the secondary and the tertiary sectors usually grow much faster than the primary sector, specifically the agricultural sector. This type of change is common in developing countries, like India. This process would result in a gradual shift of land from agricultural uses to non-agricultural uses. You would observe that such changes are sharp around large urban areas. The agricultural land is being used for building purposes. 3. Thirdly, though the contribution of the agricultural activities reduces over time, the pressure on land for agricultural activities does not decline. The reasons for continued pressure on agricultural land are: A. In developing countries, the share of population dependent on agriculture usually declines much more slowly compared to the decline in the sector's share in GDP. B. The number of people that the agricultural sector has to feed is increasing day by day. Land resources and agriculture. Compare the changes of land use between 1950 to 57 and 2014 to 15. India has undergone major changes within the economy over the past 4 or 5 decades, and this has influenced the land use changes in the country. These changes between 1950 to 51 and 2014 to 15 have been shown in Figure 3.1. There are 2 points that you need to remember before you derive some meaning from this figure. Firstly, the percentages shown in the figure have been derived with respect to the reporting area. Secondly, since even the reporting area has been relatively constant over the years, a decline in one category usually leads to an increase in some other category. 4 categories have undergone increases, while 4 have registered declines. Share of area under forest, area under non-agricultural uses, current fallow lands, and net area sown have shown an increase. The following observations can be made about these increases. I. The rate of increase is the highest in case of area under non-agricultural uses. This is due to the changing structure of Indian economy, which is increasingly depending on the contribution from industrial and services sectors and expansion of related infrastructural facilities. Also, an expansion of area under both urban and rural settlements has added to the increase. Thus, the area under non-agricultural uses is increasing at the expense of wastelands and agricultural land. 2. The increase in the share under forest, as explained before, can be accounted for by increase in the demarcated area under forest rather than an actual increase in the forest cover in the country. 3. The increase in the current fallow cannot be explained from information pertaining to only 2 points. The trend of current fallow fluctuates a great deal over years, depending on the variability of rainfall and cropping cycles. 4. The increase in net area sown is a recent phenomenon due to use of cultivable wasteland for agricultural purposes, before which it was registering a slow decrease. There are indications that most of the decline had occurred due to the increases in area under non-agricultural use. Note the expansion of building activity on agricultural land in your village and city. Figure 3.1. 24 India, people and economy. The 4 categories that have registered a decline are barren and wasteland, cultivable wasteland, area under tree crops and groves, and fallow lands. The following explanations can be given for the declining trends. I. As the pressure on land increased, both from the agricultural and non-agricultural sectors, the wastelands and cultivable wastelands have witnessed decline over time. 2. The decline in land under tree crops and groves can be explained by pressure from agricultural land. What is the difference between actual increase and rate of increase? Work out the actual increase and rate of increases for all the land use categories between 1950 to 51 and 2014 to 15 from the data given in the Appendix 6. Explain the results. Note for teacher. For calculating actual increase, the difference of the land use category. For calculating actual increase, the difference of the land use categories should be worked out over the 2 periods. For deriving the rate of increase, simple growth rate, i.e., difference of values between the 2 time points, i.e. value of terminal year minus base year / base year or 1960 to 61 value, should be used, e.g. 100 net sown area in 2014 to 15 net sown area in 1950 to 51 net sown area in 1950 to 51. Common PR, common PR, common PR, common PR, common proper oper operty, artai, res r esur, sources CES. Land, according to its ownership, can broadly be classified under 2 broad heads, private land and common property resources, CPRs. While the former is owned by an individual or a group of individuals, the latter is owned by the state meant for the use of the community. CPRs provide fodder for the livestock and fuel for the households along with other minor forest products like fruits, nuts, fiber, medicinal plants, etc. in rural areas. Such land is of particular relevance for the livelihood of the landless and marginal farmers and other weaker sections, since many of them depend on income from their livestock due to the fact that they have limited access to land. CPRs also are important for women as most of the fodder and fuel collection is done by them in rural areas. They have to devote long hours in collecting fuel and fodder from a degraded area of CPR. CPRs can be defined as community's natural resource, where every member has the right of access and usage with specified obligations, without anybody having property rights over them. Community forests, pasture lands, village water bodies and other public spaces where a group larger than a household or family unit exercises rights of use and carries responsibility of management are examples of CPRs. Agricultural land use in India. 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 Land resource is more crucial to the livelihood of the people depending on agriculture. Agriculture is a purely land-based activity unlike secondary and tertiary activities. In other words, contribution of land in agricultural output is more compared to its contribution in the outputs in the other sectors. Thus, lack of access to land is directly correlated with incidence of poverty in rural areas. 2. Quality of land has a direct bearing on the productivity of agriculture, which is not true for other activities. 3. In rural areas, aside from its value as a productive factor, land ownership has a social value and serves as a security for credit, natural hazards, or life contingencies, and also adds to the social status. An estimation of the total stock of agricultural land resources, i.e. total cultivable land, can be arrived at by adding up net sown area, all fallow lands, and cultivable wasteland. It may be observed from Table 3.1 that over the years, there has been a marginal decline in the available total stock of cultivable land as a percentage to total reporting area. There has been a greater decline of cultivated land, in spite of a corresponding decline of cultivable wasteland. Land resources and agriculture. It is clear from the above discussion that the scope for bringing in additional land under net sown area in India is limited. There is, thus, an urgent need to evolve and adopt land-saving technologies. Such technologies can be classified under 2 heads: those which raise the yield of any particular crop per unit area of land, and those which increase the total output per unit area of land from all crops grown over one agricultural year by increasing land use intensity. The advantage of the latter kind of technology is that along with increasing output from limited land, it also increases the demand for labor significantly. For a land-scarce but labor-abundant country like India, a high cropping intensity is desirable not only for fuller utilization of land resource, but also for reducing unemployment in the rural economy. The cropping intensity, CI, is calculated as follows. 100 GCA cropping intensity in percentage NSA equals times. Cropping seasons in India. There are 3 distinct crop seasons in the northern and interior parts of country, namely Kharif, Rabi, and Zaid. The Kharif season largely coincides with southwest monsoon, under which the cultivation of tropical crops, such as rice, cotton, jute, jowar, bajra, and tur is possible. The Rabi season begins with the onset of winter in October-November and ends in March-April. The low temperature conditions during this. Table 3.1. Composition of total cultivable land. Table 3.2. Cropping seasons in India. Season facilitate the cultivation of temperate and subtropical crops such as wheat, gram, and mustard. Zaid is a short-duration summer cropping season beginning after harvesting of Rabi crops. The cultivation of watermelons, cucumbers, vegetables, and fodder crops during the season is done on irrigated lands. However, this type of distinction in the cropping season does not exist in southern parts of the country. Here, the temperature is high enough to grow tropical crops during any period in the year provided the soil moisture is available. Therefore, in this region same crops can be grown thrice in an agricultural year provided there is sufficient soil moisture. Types of farming. On the basis of main source of moisture for crops, the farming can be classified as irrigated and rain-fed, R&E. There is difference in the nature of irrigated farming, as well as based on the objective of irrigation, i.e. protective or productive. The objective of protective irrigation is to protect the crops from adverse effects of soil moisture deficiency, which often means that irrigation acts as a supplementary source of water over and above the rainfall. The strategy of this kind of irrigation is to provide soil moisture to maximum possible area. Productive irrigation is meant to provide sufficient soil moisture in the cropping season to achieve high productivity. In such irrigation, the water input per unit area of cultivated land is higher than protective irrigation. Rain-fed farming is further classified on the basis of adequacy of soil moisture during cropping season into dryland and wetland farming. In India, the dryland farming is largely confined to the regions having annual rainfall less than 75 centimeters. These regions grow hardy and drought-resistant crops such as ragi, bajra, mung, gram and gur, fodder crops, and practice various measures of soil moisture conservation and rainwater harvesting. In wetland farming, the rainfall is in excess of soil moisture requirement of plants during rainy season. Such regions may face flood and soil erosion hazards. These areas grow various water-intensive crops such as rice, jute and sugarcane and practice aquaculture in the fresh water bodies. Food grains. The importance of food grains in Indian agricultural economy may be gauged from the fact these crops occupy about 2/3 of total cropped area in the country. Food grains are dominant crops in all parts of the country whether they have subsistence or commercial agricultural economy. On the basis of the structure of grain, the food grains are classified as cereals and pulses. Cereals. The cereals occupy about 54% of total cropped area in India. The country produces about 11% cereals of the world and ranks third in production after China and USA. India produces a variety of cereals, which are classified as fine grains, rice, wheat, and coarse grains, jowar, bajra, maize, ragi, etc. Account of important cereals has been given in the following paragraphs. Rice. Rice is a staple food for the overwhelming majority of population in India. Though it is considered to be a crop of tropical humid areas, it has many varieties which are grown in different agroclimatic regions. These are successfully grown from sea level to about 2,000 m altitude and from humid areas in eastern India to dry but irrigated areas of Punjab, Haryana, western UP and northern Rajasthan. In southern states and West Bengal, the climatic conditions allow the cultivation of 2 or 3 crops of rice in an agricultural year. In West Bengal, farmers grow 3 crops of rice called Aus, Aman, and Burro. But in Himalayas and northwestern parts of the country, it is grown as a kharif crop during southwest monsoon season. India contributes 22.07% of rice production. India contributes 22.07% of rice production in the world and ranked second after China in 2018. About 1/4 of the total cropped area in the country is under rice cultivation. West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, and Punjab are the leading rice-producing states in the country. The yield level of rice is high in Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, West Bengal, and Kerala. In the first 4 of these states, almost the entire land under rice cultivation is irrigated. Punjab and Haryana are not traditional rice-growing areas. Rice cultivation in the irrigated areas of Punjab and Haryana was introduced in 1970s following the Green Revolution. Genetically improved varieties of seed, relatively high usage of fertilizers and pesticides, and lower levels of susceptibility of the crop to pests due to dry climatic conditions. Figure 3.2, Rice transplantation in southern parts of India. Land resources and agriculture. Figure 3.3, India, distribution of rice. 28 India, people and economy are responsible for higher yield of rice in this region. The yield of this crop is very low in rain-fed areas of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Odisha. Wheat. Wheat is the second most important cereal crop in India after rice. India produces about 12.8% of total wheat production of world 2017. It is primarily a crop of temperate zone. Hence, its cultivation in India is done during winter, i.e. Rabi season. About 85% of total area under this crop is concentrated in north and central regions of the country, i.e. Indo-Gangetic Plain, Malwa Plateau, and Himalayas up to 2,700 m altitude. Being a Rabi crop, it is mostly grown under irrigated conditions. But it is a rain-fed crop in Himalayan highlands and parts of Malwa Plateau in Madhya Pradesh. About 14% of the total cropped area in the country is under wheat cultivation. Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan are leading wheat-producing states. The yield level of wheat is very high, above 4,000 kg per ha, in Punjab and Haryana, whereas Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Bihar have moderate yields. The states like Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir growing wheat under rain-fed conditions have low yield. Jowar. The coarse cereals together occupy about 16.5% of total cropped area in the country. Among these, jowar or sorghum alone accounts for about 5.3% of total cropped area. It is main food crop in semi-arid areas of central and southern India. Maharashtra alone produces more than half of the total jowar production of the country. Other leading producer states of jowar are Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. It is sown in both Kharif and Rabi seasons in southern states. But it is a Kharif crop in northern India where it is mostly grown as a fodder crop. South of Vindhyachal it is a rain-fed crop and its yield level is very low in this region. Bajra. Bajra is sown in hot and dry climatic conditions in northwestern and western parts of the country. It is a hardy crop which resists frequent dry spells and drought in this region. It is cultivated alone as well as part of mixed cropping. This coarse cereal occupies about 5.2% of total cropped area in the country. Leading producers of bajra are the states of Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana. Yield of this crop has increased during recent years in Rajasthan, Haryana, and Gujarat due to introduction of drought-resistant varieties and expansion of irrigation under it. Maize. Maize is a food as well as fodder crop grown under semi-arid climatic conditions and over inferior soils. This crop occupies only about 3.6% of total cropped area. Maize cultivation is not concentrated in any specific region. It is sown all over India except Punjab and eastern and northeastern regions. The leading producers of maize are the states of Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. Yield level of maize is higher than other coarse cereals. It is high in southern states and declines towards central parts. Pulses. Pulses are a very important ingredient of vegetarian food as these are rich sources of proteins. These are legume crops which increase the natural fertility of soils through nitrogen fixation. India is a leading producer of pulses in the world. The cultivation of pulses in the country is largely concentrated in the drylands of Deccan and Central Plateaus and northwestern parts of the country. Pulses occupy about 11% of the total cropped area in the country. Being the rain-fed crops of drylands, the yields of pulses are low and fluctuate from year to year. Gram and tur are the main pulses cultivated in India. Land resources and agriculture. Figure 3.4, India, distribution of wheat. 30 India, people and economy. Gram. Gram is cultivated in subtropical areas. It is mostly a rain-fed crop cultivated during Rabi season in central, western, and northwestern parts of the country. Just 1 or 2 light showers or irrigations are required to grow this crop successfully. It has been displaced from the cropping pattern by wheat in Haryana, Punjab, and northern Rajasthan following the Green Revolution. At present, gram covers only about 2.8% of the total cropped area in the country. Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Rajasthan are the main producers of this pulse crop. The yield of this crop continues to be low and fluctuates from year to year even in irrigated areas. Tur arhar. Tur is the second important pulse crop in the country. It is also known as red gram or pigeon pea. It is cultivated over marginal lands and under rain-fed conditions in the dry areas of central and southern states of the country. This crop occupies only about 2% of total cropped area of India. Maharashtra alone contributes about 1/3 of the total production of tur. Other leading producer states are Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka, Gujarat, and Madhya Pradesh. Per hectare output of this crop is very low and its performance is inconsistent. Differentiate between different food grains. Mix grains of various kinds and separate cereals from pulses. Also, separate fine from coarse cereals. Oilseeds. The oilseeds are produced for extracting edible oils. Drylands of Malwa Plateau, Marathwada, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Telangana, Rayalaseema region of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka Plateau are oilseeds growing regions of India. These crops together occupy about 14% of total cropped area in the country. Groundnut, rapeseed and mustard, soybean and sunflower are the main oilseed crops grown in India. Groundnut. India produces about 18.8% of the total groundnut production in the world 2018. It is largely a rain-fed Kharif crop of drylands. But in southern India it is cultivated during Rabi season as well. It covers about 3.6% of total cropped area in the country. Gujarat, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, and Maharashtra are the leading producers. Yield of groundnut is comparatively high in Tamil Nadu where it is partly irrigated. But its yield is low in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka. Rapeseed and mustard. Rapeseed and mustard comprise several oilseeds as rye, sarson, toria, and taramira. These are subtropical crops cultivated during Rabi season in northwestern and central parts of India. These are frost-sensitive crops and their yields fluctuate from year to year. But with the expansion of irrigation and improvement in seed technology, their yields have improved and stabilized to some extent. About 2/3 of the cultivated area under these crops is irrigated. These oilseeds together occupy only about 2.5% of total cropped area in the country. Rajasthan contributes about 1/3 production, while other leading producers are Haryana and Madhya Pradesh. Yields of these crops are comparatively high in Haryana and Rajasthan. Other oilseeds. Soybean and sunflower are other important oilseeds grown in India. Soybean is mostly grown in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. Figure 3.5, farmers sowing soybean seeds in Amravati, Maharashtra. Land resources and agriculture. Figure 3.6, India, distribution of cotton and jute. 32 India, people and economy. These two states together produce about 90% of total output of soybean in the country. Sunflower cultivation is concentrated in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and adjoining areas of Maharashtra. It is a minor crop in northern parts of the country where its yield is high due to irrigation. Fiber crops. These crops provide us fiber for preparing cloth, bags, sacks, and a number of other items. Cotton and jute are two main fiber crops grown in India. Cotton. Cotton is a tropical crop grown in Kharif season in semi-arid areas of the country. India lost a large proportion of cotton growing area to Pakistan during partition. However, its acreage has increased considerably during the last 50 years. India grows both short staple, Indian, cotton as well as long staple, American, cotton called Narma, in northwestern parts of the country. Cotton requires clear sky during flowering stage. Gujarat, Maharashtra and Telangana per hectare output of cotton is high under irrigated conditions in northwestern region of the country. Its yield is very low in Maharashtra where it is grown under rain-fed conditions. Jute. Jute is used for making coarse cloth, bags, sacks and decorative items. It is a cash crop in West Bengal and adjoining eastern parts of the country. India lost large jute growing areas to East Pakistan, Bangladesh during partition. At present, India produces about 3/5 of jute production of the world. West Bengal accounts for about 3/4 of the production in the country. Bihar and Assam are other jute growing areas. Being concentrated only in a few states, this crop accounts for only about 0.5% of total cropped area in the country. Other crops. Sugarcane, tea and coffee are other important crops grown in India. Sugarcane. Sugarcane is a crop of tropical areas. Under rain-fed conditions, it is cultivated in subhumid and humid climates. But it is largely an irrigated crop in India. In Indo-Gangetic Plain, its cultivation is largely concentrated in Uttar Pradesh. Sugarcane growing area in western India is spread over Maharashtra and Gujarat. India ranks second in the world in the production of cotton after China. Cotton occupies about 4.7% of total cropped area in the country. There are 3 cotton growing areas, i.e. parts of Punjab, Haryana and northern Rajasthan in northwest, Gujarat and Maharashtra in the west and plateaus of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu in south. Leading producers of this crop are Figure 3.7, Cotton cultivation. Figure 3.8, Sugarcane cultivation. Land resources and agriculture. Figure 3.9, India, distribution of sugarcane. 34 India. People and economy. In southern India, it is cultivated in irrigated tracts of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. India was the second largest producer of sugarcane after Brazil in 2018. It accounts for about 19.7% of the world production of sugarcane. But it occupies only 2.4% of total cropped area in the country. Uttar Pradesh produces about 2/5 of sugarcane of the country. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh are other leading producers of this crop, where yield level of sugarcane is high. Its yield is low in northern India. Tea. Tea is a plantation crop used as beverage. Black tea leaves are fermented whereas green tea leaves are unfermented. Tea leaves have rich content of caffeine and tannin. It is an indigenous crop of hills in northern China. It is grown over undulating topography of hilly areas and well-drained soils in humid and subhumid tropics and subtropics. In India, tea plantations started in 1840s in Brahmaputra Valley of Assam, which still is a major tea growing area in the country. Later on, its plantation was introduced in the sub-Himalayan region of West Bengal, Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri and Cooch Behar districts. Tea is also cultivated on the lower slopes of Nilgiris and World after China, 2018. Assam accounts for about 53.2% of the total cropped area and contributes more than half of total production of tea in the country. West Bengal and Tamil Nadu are the other leading producers of tea. Coffee. Coffee is a tropical plantation crop. Its seeds are roasted, ground, and are used for preparing a beverage. There are 3 varieties of coffee, i.e. Arabica, Robusta, and Liberica. India mostly grows superior quality coffee, Arabica, which is in great demand in international market. But India produces only about 3.17% coffee of the world and ranks 8th after Brazil, Vietnam, Indonesia, Colombia, Honduras, Ethiopia, and Peru in 2018. Coffee is cultivated in the highlands of Western Ghats in Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Karnataka alone accounts for more than 2/3 of total production of coffee in the country. Agricultural development in India. 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 Indian agricultural economy was largely subsistence in nature before independence. It had dismal performance in the first half of 20th century. This period witnessed severe droughts and famines. During partition, about 1/3 of the irrigated land in undivided India went to Pakistan. This reduced the proportion of irrigated area in independent India. After independence, the immediate goal of the government was to increase food grains production by I. Switching over from cash crops to food crops, 2. Intensification of cropping over already cultivated land, and 3. Increasing cultivated area by bringing cultivable and fallow land under plow. Initially, this strategy helped in increasing food grains production. But agricultural production stagnated during late 1950s. To overcome this problem, Intensive Agricultural District Program, IADP, and Intensive Agricultural Area Program, IAAP, were launched. But 2 consecutive droughts during mid-1960s resulted in food crisis in the country. Consequently, food grains were imported from other countries. Figure 3.10, Tea farming. Cardamom Hills in Western Ghats. India is a leading producer of tea and accounts for about 21.22% of total production in the world 2018. India's share in the international market of tea has declined substantially. It ranks 2nd among tea exporting countries in the Land Resources and Agriculture. Figure 3.11, India distribution of tea and coffee. 36 India. People and economy. New seed varieties of wheat, Mexico, and rice, Philippines, known as high-yielding varieties, HYVs, were available for cultivation by mid-1960s. India took advantage of this and introduced package technology comprising HYVs, along with chemical fertilizers in irrigated areas of Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and Gujarat. Assured supply of soil moisture through irrigation was a basic prerequisite for the success of this new agricultural technology. This strategy of agricultural development paid dividends instantly and increased the food grains production at very fast rate. This spurt of agricultural growth came to be known as Green Revolution. This also gave fillip to the development of a large number of agro-inputs, agro-processing industries, and small-scale industries. This strategy of agricultural development made the country self-reliant in food grain production. But Green Revolution was initially confined to irrigated areas only. This led to regional disparities in agricultural development in the country till 1970s, after which the technology spread to the eastern and central parts of the country. The Planning Commission of India focused its attention on the problems of agriculture in rain-fed areas in 1980s. It initiated agroclimatic planning in 1988 to induce regionally balanced agricultural development in the country. It also emphasized on the need for diversification of agriculture and harnessing of resources for the development of dairy farming, poultry, horticulture, livestock rearing, and aquaculture. Initiation of the policy of liberalization and free market economy in 1990s influenced the course of development of Indian agriculture. Growth of agricultural output and technology. There has been a significant increase in agricultural output and improvement in technology during the last 50 years. Production and yield of many crops such as rice and wheat has increased at an impressive rate. Among the other crops, the production of sugarcane, oilseeds, and cotton has also increased appreciably. The expansion of irrigation has played a crucial role in enhancing agricultural output in the country. It provided basis for introduction of modern agricultural technology, such as high-yielding varieties of seeds, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and farm machinery. The net irrigated area in the country has also increased. A modern agricultural technology has diffused very fast in various areas of the country. Consumption of chemical fertilizers has increased by 15 times since mid-60s. Since the high-yielding varieties are highly susceptible to pests and diseases, the use of pesticides has increased significantly since 1960s. National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, NMSA. National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture is to make agriculture more productive, sustainable, remunerative and climate resilient by promoting location-specific integrated/composite farming systems, and to conserve natural resources through appropriate soil and moisture conservation measures. The government has been promoting organic farming in the country through the scheme such as Paramparagit Krishi Vikas Yojana, PKVY, and Rashtriya Vikas Yojana, RKVY. Farmers Portal of India. The Farmers Portal is a platform for farmers to seek any information related to agriculture. Detailed information on farmers' insurance, agriculture storage, crops, extension activities, seeds, pesticides, farm machineries, etc. is provided. Details of fertilizers, market prices, package and practices, programs, welfare schemes are also given. Block-level details related to soil fertility, storage, insurance, training, etc. are available in an interactive map. Users can also download farm-friendly handbook, scheme guidelines, etc. Source: Prob obobob lems of Indian AG Indian agriculture EEE. The nature of problems faced by Indian agriculture varies according to agroecological and historical experiences of its different regions. Hence, most of the agricultural problems in the country are region-specific. Yet, there are some problems which are common and range from physical constraints to institutional hindrances. A detailed discussion on these problems follows. Land resources and agriculture. Dependence on erratic monsoon. Irrigation covers only about 33% of the cultivated area in India. The crop production in rest of the cultivated land directly depends on rain. Poor performance of southwest monsoon also adversely affects the supply of canal water for irrigation. On the other hand, the rainfall in Rajasthan and other drought-prone areas is too meager and highly unreliable. Even the areas receiving high annual rainfall experience considerable fluctuations. This makes them vulnerable to both droughts and floods. Drought is a common phenomenon in the low rainfall areas, which may also experience occasional floods. The flash floods in drylands of Maharashtra, Gujarat and Rajasthan in 2006 and 2017 are examples of this phenomenon. Droughts and floods continue to be the twin menace in Indian agriculture. Low productivity. The yield of the crops in the country is low in comparison to the international level. Per hectare output of most of the crops such as rice, wheat, cotton and oilseeds in India is much lower than that of the USA, Russia and Japan. Because of the very high pressure on the land resources, the labor productivity in Indian agriculture is also very low in comparison to international level. The vast rain-fed areas of the country, particularly drylands which mostly grow coarse cereals, pulses and oilseeds have low yields. Why is agricultural productivity low in dry regions? Constraints of financial resources and indebtedness. The inputs of modern agriculture are very expensive. This resource-intensive approach has become unmanageable for marginal and small farmers as they have very meager or no saving to invest in agriculture. To tide over these difficulties, most of such farmers have resorted to availing credit from various institutions and moneylenders. Crop failures and low returns from agriculture have forced them to fall in the trap of indebtedness. What are the implications of severe indebtedness? Do you feel that the recent incidents of farmers' suicides in different states of the country are the result of indebtedness? Lack of land reforms. Indian peasantry had been exploited for a long time as there had been unequal distribution of land. Among the three revenue systems operational during British period, i.e. Mahalwari, Rayatwari and Zamindari, the last one was most exploitative for the peasants. After independence, land reforms were accorded priority, but these reforms were not implemented effectively due to lack of strong political will. Most of the state governments avoided taking politically tough decisions which went against strong political lobbies of landlords. Lack of implementation of land reforms has resulted in continuation of inequitous distribution of cultivable land which is detrimental to agricultural development. Small farm size and fragmentation of land holdings. There are a large number of marginal and small farmers in the country. The average size of land holding is shrinking under increasing. Figure 3.12. Roto-till drill modern agricultural equipment. 3838383838 India. People and economy India. People and economy India. People and economy India. People and economy India. People and economy. Population pressure. Furthermore, in India, the land holdings are mostly fragmented. There are some states where consolidation of holding has not been carried out even once. Even the states where it has been carried out once, second consolidation is required as land holdings have fragmented again in the process of division of land among the owners of next generations. The small size fragmented land holdings are uneconomic. Lack of commercialization, lack of commercialization, lack of commercialization, lack of commercialization, lack of commercialization. A large number of farmers produce crops for self-consumption. These farmers do not have enough land resources to produce more than their requirement. Most of the small and marginal farmers grow food grains, which are meant for their own family consumption. Modernization and commercialization of agriculture have, however, taken place in the irrigated areas. Vast underemployment, vast underemployment, vast underemployment, vast underemployment, vast underemployment. There is a massive underemployment in the agricultural sector in India, particularly in the unirrigated tracts. In these areas, there is a seasonal unemployment ranging from 4 to 8 months. Even in the cropping season, work is not available throughout as agricultural operations are not labor-intensive. Hence, the people engaged in agriculture do not have the opportunity to work round the year. Land resources and agriculture. Exercises, 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 exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. I. Which one of the following is not a land use category? A fallow land, C. Net area sown. B. Marginal land, D. Cultivable wasteland. 2. What one of the following is the main reason due to which share of forest has shown an increase in the last 40 years? A. Extensive and efficient efforts of afforestation. B. Increase in community forest land. C. Increase in notified area allocated for forest. C. Increase in notified area allocated for forest growth. D. Better people's participation in managing forest area. 3. Which one of the following is the main form of degradation in irrigated areas? A. Gully erosion. C. Salinization of soils. B. Wind erosion. D. Siltation of land. 4. Which one of the following crops is not cultivated under dryland farming? A. Ragi. C. Groundnut. B. Jowar. D. Sugarcane. V. In which of the following group of countries of the world, HYVs of wheat and rice were developed? A. Japan and Australia. C. Mexico and Philippines. B. USA and Japan. D. Mexico and Singapore. Degradation of cultivable land. One of the serious problems that arises out of faulty strategy of irrigation and agricultural development is degradation of land resources. This is serious because it may lead to depletion of soil fertility. The situation is particularly alarming in irrigated areas. A large tract of agricultural land has lost its fertility due to alkalization and salinization of soils and waterlogging. Excessive use of chemicals such as insecticides and pesticides has led to their concentration in toxic amounts in the soil profile. Leguminous crops have been displaced from the cropping pattern in the irrigated areas. And duration of fallow has substantially reduced owing to multiple cropping. This has obliterated the process of natural fertilization such as nitrogen fixation. Rain-fed areas in humid and semi-arid tropics also experience degradation of several types like soil erosion by water and wind erosion, which are often induced by human activities. Prepare a list of agricultural problems in your own region. How similar or different are these problems compared to the problems mentioned in this chapter? 40. India, people and economy. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. Differentiate between barren and wasteland and cultivable wasteland. 2. How would you distinguish between net sown area and gross cropped area? 3. Why is the strategy of increasing cropping intensity important in a country like India? 4. How do you measure total cultivable land? V. What is the difference between dryland and wetland farming? 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. What are the different types of environmental problems of land resources in India? 2. What are the important strategies for agricultural development followed in the post-independence period in India? Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Chapter 4. Water resources. Do you think that what exists today will continue to be so, or the future is going to be different in some respects? It can be said with some certainty that the societies will witness demographic transition, geographical shift of population, technological advancement, degradation of environment, and water scarcity. Water scarcity is possibly to pose the greatest challenge on account of its increased demand coupled with shrinking supplies due to overutilization and pollution. Water is a cyclic resource with abundant supplies on the globe. Approximately 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with it, but freshwater constitutes only about 3% of the total water. In fact, a very small proportion of freshwater is effectively available for human use. The availability of freshwater varies over space and time. The tensions and disputes on sharing and control of the scarce resource are becoming contested issues among communities, regions, and states. The assessment, efficient use, and conservation of water, therefore, become necessary to ensure development. In this chapter, we shall discuss water resources in India, its geographical distribution, sectoral utilization, and methods of its conservation and management. Water resources of India. 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 India accounts for about 2.45% of the world's surface area, 4% of the world's water resources, and more than 17% of the world's population. The total water available from precipitation in the country in a year is about 4,000 cubic km. The availability from surface water and replenishable groundwater is 1,869 cubic km. Out of this, only 60% can be put to beneficial uses. Thus, the total utilizable water resource in the country is only 1,122 cubic km. Surface water resources. There are 4 major sources of surface water. These are rivers, lakes, ponds, and tanks. In the country, there are about 10,360 rivers and their tributaries longer than 1.6 kilometers each. The mean annual flow in all the river basins. India, people and economy. Of lagoons and lakes have formed. The states like Kerala, Odisha, and West Bengal have vast surface water resources in these lagoons and lakes. Although water is generally brackish in these water bodies, it is used for fishing and irrigating certain varieties of paddy crops, coconut, etc. Water demand and utilization. India has traditionally been an agrarian economy and about 2/3 of its population have been dependent on agriculture. Hence, development of irrigation to increase agricultural production has been assigned a very high priority in the 5-year plans, and multipurpose river valleys projects like the Bakranangal, Hirakud, Damodar Valley, Nagarjuna Sagar, Indira Gandhi Canal Project, etc. have been taken up. In fact, India's water demand at present is dominated by irrigational needs. Agriculture accounts for most of the surface and groundwater utilization. It accounts for 89% of the surface water and 92% of the groundwater utilization. While the share of industrial sector is limited to 2% of the surface water utilization and 5% of the groundwater, the share of domestic sector is higher, 9%, in surface water utilization as compared to groundwater. The share of agricultural sector in total water utilization is much higher than other sectors. However, in future, with development, the shares of industrial and domestic sectors in the country are likely to increase. Demand of water for irrigation. In agriculture, water is mainly used for irrigation. Irrigation is needed because of spatio-temporal variability in rainfall in the country. The large tracts of the country are deficient in rainfall and are drought-prone. Northwestern India and Deccan Plateau constitute such areas. Winter and summer seasons are more or less dry in most part of the country. Hence, it is difficult to practiseagriculture without. In India is estimated to be 1,869 cubic km. However, due to topographical, hydrological, and other constraints, only about 690 cubic km, 32%, of the available surface water can be utilized. Water flow in a river depends on size of its catchment area or river basin and rainfall within its catchment area. You have studied in your Class 11 textbook, India, Physical Environment, that precipitation in India has very high spatial variation and it is mainly concentrated in monsoon season. You also have studied in the textbook that some of the rivers in the country like the Ganga, the Brahmaputra, and the Indus have huge catchment areas. Given the precipitation is relatively high in the catchment areas of the Ganga, the Brahmaputra, and the Barak rivers, these rivers, although account for only about 1/3 of the total area in the country, have 60% of the total surface water resources. Much of the annual water flow in South Indian rivers like the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri has been harnessed, but it is yet to be done in the Brahmaputra and the Ganga basins. Groundwater resources. The total replenishable groundwater resources in the country are about 432 cubic km. The level of groundwater utilization is relatively high in the river basins lying in northwestern region and parts of South India. The groundwater utilization is very high in the states of Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Tamil Nadu. However, there are states like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Kerala, etc. which utilize only a small proportion of their groundwater potentials. States like Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Tripura, and Maharashtra are utilizing their groundwater resources at a moderate rate. If the present trend continues, the demands for water would need the supplies. And such situation will be detrimental to development and can cause social upheaval and disruptions. Lagoons and backwaters. India has a vast coastline and the coast is very indented in some states. Due to this, a number. Water resources 43. Figure 4.1. India, river basins. India, people and economy. Emerging water problems. The per capita availability of water is dwindling day by day due to increase in population. The available water resources are also getting polluted with industrial, agricultural, and domestic effluents, and this, in turn, is further limiting the availability of usable water resources. Deterioration of water quality, deterioration of water quality, deterioration of water quality, deterioration of water quality, deterioration of water quality. Water quality refers to purity of water or water without unwanted foreign substances. Water. Irrigation during dry seasons. Irrigation during dry seasons. Even in the areas of ample rainfall like West Bengal and Bihar, breaks in monsoon or its failure creates dry spells detrimental for agriculture. Water need of certain crops also makes irrigation necessary. For instance, water requirement of rice, sugarcane, jute, etc. is very high, which can be met only through irrigation. Provision of irrigation makes multiple cropping possible. It has also been found that irrigated lands have higher agricultural productivity than unirrigated land. Further, the high-yielding varieties of crops need regular moisture supply, which is made possible only by developed irrigation systems. In fact, this is why that green revolution strategy of agriculture development in the country has largely been successful in Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh. In Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh, more than 85% of their net sown area is under irrigation. Wheat and rice are grown mainly with the help of irrigation in these states. Of the total net irrigated area, 76.1% in Punjab and 51.3% in Haryana are irrigated through wells and tube wells. This shows that these states utilize large proportion of their groundwater potential, which has resulted in groundwater depletion in these states. The overuse of groundwater resources has led to decline in groundwater table in these states. In fact, over-withdrawals in some states, like Rajasthan and Maharashtra, has INCERT groundwater, and this practice has led to increase in concentration of arsenic in parts of West Bengal and Bihar. Intensive irrigation in Punjab, Haryana, and Western Uttar Pradesh is increasing salinity in the soil and depletion of groundwater irrigation. Discuss its likely impacts on agriculture. Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchayi Yojana, PMKSY. Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchayi Yojana has been launched by the central government during 2015-16 with an overarching vision to ensure access to some means of protective irrigation for all agricultural farms in the country, thus bringing much desired rural prosperity. Some of the broad objectives of this programs are to enhance the physical access of water on the farm and expand cultivable area under assured irrigation, Har Kaith Ko Pani. Promote integration of water source, distribution, and its efficient use to make best use of water through appropriate technologies and practices. Improve on-farm water use efficiency to reduce wastage and increase availability both in duration and extent. Irrigation and other water-saving technologies, drop more crop. Introduce sustainable water conservation practices. Ensure the integrated development of rain-fed areas using the waters-held approach towards soil and water conservation, regeneration of groundwater, providing livelihood options, etc. Water resources 45. Water conservation and management. Since there is a declining availability of freshwater and increasing demand, the need has arisen to conserve and effectively manage this precious life-giving resource for sustainable development. Given that water availability from sea/ocean, due to high cost of desalination, is considered negligible, India has to take quick steps and make effective policies and laws, and adopt effective measures for its conservation. Besides developing water-saving technologies and methods, attempts are also to be made to prevent the pollution. There is need to encourage watershed development, rainwater harvesting, water recycling and reuse, and Figure 4.2. The Ganga and its tributaries and towns located on them gets polluted by foreign matters, such as microorganisms, chemicals, industrial and other wastes. Such matters deteriorate the quality of water and render it unfit for human use. When toxic substances enter lakes, streams, rivers, ocean and other water bodies, they get dissolved or lie suspended in water. This results in pollution of water, whereby quality of water deteriorates, affecting aquatic systems. Sometimes, these pollutants also seep down and pollute groundwater. Find out which are the major towns/cities located on the bank of the Ganga and its tributaries and major industries they have. India. People and economy. Conjunctive use of water for sustaining water supply in long run. Prevention of water pollution. Available water resources are degrading rapidly. The major rivers of the country generally retain better water quality in less densely populated upper stretches in hilly areas. In plains, river water is used intensively for irrigation, drinking, domestic and industrial purposes. The drains carrying agricultural, fertilizers and insecticides, domestic, solid and liquid wastes, and industrial effluents join the rivers. The concentration of pollutants in rivers, especially, remains very high during the summer season when flow of water is low. The Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, in collaboration with state pollution control boards, has been monitoring water quality of national aquatic resources at 507 stations. The data obtained from these stations show that organic and bacterial contamination continues to be the main source of pollution in rivers. The Yamuna River is the most polluted river in the country between Delhi and Etawah. Other severely polluted rivers are the Sabarmati at Ahmedabad, the Gomti at Lucknow, the Kali, the Udyar, the Kum, entire stretches, the Vaigai at Madurai and the Musi of Hyderabad, and the Ganga at Kanpur and Varanasi. Groundwater pollution has occurred due to high concentrations of heavy/toxic metals, fluoride and nitrates at different parts of the country. The legislative provisions such as the Water, Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974 and Environment Protection Act 1986 have not been implemented effectively. The result is that in 1997, 251 polluting industries were located along the rivers and lakes. The Water. Discuss the issues highlighted in the news items. www.water resources CS 47. CES Act, 1977, meant to reduce pollution has also made marginal impacts. There is a strong need to generate public awareness about importance of water and impacts of water pollution. The public awareness and action can be very effective in reducing the pollutants from agricultural activities, domestic and industrial discharges. Recycle and reuse of water. Another way through which we can improve fresh water availability is by recycle and reuse. Use of water of lesser quality, such as reclaimed wastewater, would be an attractive option for industries for cooling and firefighting to reduce their water cost. Similarly, in urban areas, water after bathing and washing utensils can be used for gardening. Water used for washing vehicle can also be used for gardening. This would conserve better quality of water for drinking purposes. Currently, recycling of water is practiced on a limited scale. However, there is enormous scope for replenishing water through recycling. Observe the quantity of water used at your home in various activities and enlist the ways in which the water can be reused and recycled in various activities. Class teachers should organize a discussion on recycle and reuse of water. Watershed management, watershed management, watershed management, watershed management, watershed management. Watershed management basically refers to efficient management and conservation of surface and groundwater resources. It involves prevention of runoff and storage and recharge of groundwater through various methods like percolation tanks, recharge wells, etc. However, in broad sense, watershed management includes conservation, regeneration, and judicious use of all resources, natural, like land, water, plants and animals, and human within a watershed. Watershed management aims at bringing about balance between natural resources on the one hand and society on the other. The success of watershed development largely depends upon community participation. The central and state governments have initiated many watershed development and management programs in the country. Some of these are being implemented by non-governmental organizations also. Harayalai is a watershed development project sponsored by the central government which aims at enabling the rural population to conserve water for drinking, irrigation, fisheries, and afforestation. The project is being executed BYGRAMPANCHAYATSWITHPEOPLES participation. Atal Bhujal Yojana Atal Jal is being implemented in 8220 water-stressed gram panchayats of 229 administrative blocks/talukas in 80 districts of 7 states viz. Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and Uttar Pradesh. The selected states account for about 37% of the total number of water-stressed, overexploited, critical, and semi-critical blocks in India. One of the key aspects of Atal JL is to bring in behavioral changes in the community from the prevailing attitude of consumption to conservation and smart water management. Source: Annual Report, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Government of India, 2022-23. Niramiru Water and U Program in Andhra Pradesh and Arvari Pani Sansad in Alwar, Rajasthan, have taken up constructions of various water harvesting structures such as percolation tanks, dugout ponds, johad, check dams, etc. through people's participation. Tamil Nadu has made water harvesting structures in the houses compulsory. No building can be constructed without making structures for water harvesting. Watershed development projects in SOMEREASHAVEBENSUCCESSFULIN. Watershed development in Ralegan City, Ahmednagar, Maharashtra. 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 A case study, a case study, a case study, a case study, a case study. Ralegan City is a small village in the district of Ahmednagar, Maharashtra. It has become an example for watershed development throughout the country. In 1975, this village was caught in a web of poverty and illicit liquor trade. The transformation took place when a retired army personnel settled down in the village and took up the task of watershed development. He convinced villagers about the importance of family planning and voluntary labor, preventing open grazing, felling trees, and liquor prohibition. Voluntary labor was necessary to ensure minimum dependence on the government for financial aids. It socialized the costs of the projects, explained the activist. Even those who were working outside the village contributed to the development by committing a month's salary every year. Work began with the percolation tank constructed in the village. In 1975, the tank could not hold water. The embankment wall leaked. People voluntarily repaired the embankment. The 7 wells below it swelled with water in summer for the first time in the living memory of the people. The people reposed their faith in him and his visions. A youth group called Tarun Mundal was formed. The group worked to ban the dowry system, caste discrimination, and untouchability. Liquor distilling units were removed and prohibition imposed. Open grazing was completely banned with a new emphasis on stall feeding. The cultivation of water-intensive crops like sugarcane was banned. Crops such as pulses, oilseeds, and certain cash crops with low water requirements were encouraged. All elections to local bodies began to be held on the basis of consensus. It made the community leaders complete representatives of the people. A system of Nai panchayats, informal courts, were also set up. Since then, no case has been referred to the police. A 22 rupees lakh school building was constructed using only the resources of the village. No donations were taken. Money, if needed, was borrowed and paid back. The villagers took pride in the self-reliance. A new system of sharing labor grew out of this infusion of pride and voluntary spirit. People volunteered to help each other in agricultural operation. Landless laborers also gained employment. Today, the village plans to buy land for them in adjoining villages. At present, water is adequate, agriculture is flourishing, though the use of fertilizers and pesticides is very high. The prosperity also brings the question of ability of the present generation to carry on the work after the leader of the movement who declared that the process of Ralegan's evolution to an ideal village will not stop. With changing times, people tend to evolve new ways. In future, Ralegan might present a different model to the country. What a mitigation approach can do. A success story. Ralegan City before mitigation approach. Ralegan City after mitigation approach. Water resources 49. Figure 4.3 Various methods of rainwater harvesting. Rejuvenating environment and economy. However, there are only a few success stories. In majority of cases, the program is still in its nascent stage. There is a need to generate awareness regarding benefits of watershed development and management among people in the country, and through this integrated water resource management approach, water availability can be ensured on sustainable basis. 50 India, People and Economy 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 Source, Press Information Bureau, Government of India, Ministry of Water Resources. Rainwater harvesting, rainwater harvesting, rainwater harvesting, rainwater harvesting, rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting is a method to capture and store rainwater for various uses. It is also used to recharge groundwater aquifers. It is a low-cost and eco-friendly technique for preserving every drop of water by guiding the rainwater to bore well, pits and wells. Rainwater harvesting increases water availability, checks the declining groundwater table, improves the quality of groundwater through dilution of contaminants like fluoride and nitrates, prevents soil erosion and flooding, and arrests saltwater intrusion in coastal areas if used to recharge aquifers. Rainwater harvesting has been practiced through various methods by different communities in the country for a long time. Traditional rainwater harvesting in rural areas is done by using surface storage bodies like lakes, ponds, irrigation tanks, etc. In Rajasthan, rainwater harvesting structures locally known as kund or tanka, a covered underground tank, are constructed near or in the house or village to store harvested rainwater. See Figure 4.3 to understand various ways of rainwater harvesting. There is a wide scope to use rainwater harvesting technique to conserve precious water resource. It can be done by harvesting rainwater on rooftops and open spaces. Harvesting rainwater also decreases the community dependence on groundwater for domestic use. Besides bridging the demand-supply gap, it can also save energy to pump groundwater as recharge leads to rise in groundwater table. These days, rainwater harvesting is being taken up on massive scale in many states in the country. Urban areas can specially benefit from rainwater harvesting as water demand has already outstripped supply in most of the cities and towns. Apart from the above-mentioned factors, the issue desalination of water, particularly in coastal areas, and brackish water in arid and semi-arid areas. Transfer of water from water surplus areas to water deficit areas through interlinking of rivers can be important remedies for solving water problem in India. Read more about interlinking of rivers. However, the most important issue from the point of view of individual users, household and communities is pricing of water. Highlights of India's National Water Policy 2012. 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 The objective of the National Water Policy 2012 is to assess the existing situation and to propose a framework for a plan of action with a unified national perspective. In order to achieve the objective of the policy, a number of recommendations have been made therein for conservation, development, and improved management of water resources of the country. Some of the salient features of National Water Policy 2012 are: emphasis on the need for a national water framework law, comprehensive legislation for optimum development of interstate rivers and river valleys. Water, after meeting the preemptive needs for safe drinking water and sanitation, achieving food security, supporting poor people dependent on agriculture for their livelihood, and high priority allocation for minimum ecosystem needs, be treated as economic good so as to promote its conservation and efficient use. Adaptation strategies in view of climate change for designing and management of water resources structures and review of acceptability criteria has been emphasized. A system to evolve benchmarks for water uses for different purposes, i.e., water footprints and water auditing, be developed to ensure efficient use of water. Removal of large disparity in stipulations for water supply in urban areas and in rural areas has been recommended. Water resources projects and services should be managed with community participation. Water Resources 51. Water Resources 51. Jal Kranti Abhiyan 2015-16, Jal Kranti Abhiyan 2015-16, Jal Kranti Abhiyan 2015-16, Jal Kranti Abhiyan 2015-16, Jal Kranti Abhiyan 2015-16. Water is a recyclable resource, but its availability is limited and the gap between supply and demand will be widening over time. Climate change at the global scale will be creating water stress conditions in many regions of the world. India has a unique situation of high population growth and rapid economic development with high water demand. The Jal Kranti Abhiyan, launched by the Government of India in 2015-16 with an aim to ensure water security through per capita availability of water in the country. People in different regions of India had practiced the traditional knowledge of water conservation and management to ensure water availability. The Jal Kranti Abhiyan aims at involving local bodies, NGOs, and citizens at large in creating awareness regarding its objectives. The following activities have been proposed under the Jal Kranti Abhiyan. 1. Selection of one water-stressed village in each 672 districts of the country to create a Jalgram. 2. Identification of model command area of about 1,000 hectares in different parts of the country, for example, up, Haryana, North, Karnataka, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, South, Rajasthan, Gujarat, West, Odisha, East, Meghalaya, Northeast. 3. Abatement of pollution. Water conservation and artificial recharge. Reducing groundwater pollution. Construction of arsenic-free wells in selected areas of the country. 4. Creating mass awareness through social media, radio, TV, print media, poster, and essay writing competitions in schools. Jal Kranti Abhiyan is designed to provide livelihood and food security through water security. Exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. I. Which one of the following types describes water as a resource? A. Abiotic resource. C. Biotic resource. B. Non-renewable resources. D. Non-cyclic resource. 2. Which one of the following South Indian states has the highest groundwater utilization in percent of its total groundwater potential? A. Tamil Nadu. C. Andhra Pradesh. B. Karnataka. D. Kerala. 3. The highest proportion of the total water used in the country is in which one of the following sectors? A. Irrigation. C. Domestic use. B. Industries. D. None of the above. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. It is said that the water resources in India have been depleting very fast. Discuss the factors responsible for depletion of water resources. 2. What factors are responsible for the highest groundwater development in the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Tamil Nadu? 3. Why the share of agricultural sector in total water used in the country is expected to decline. 4. What can be possible impacts of consumption of contaminated/unclean water on the people? 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Discuss the availability of water resources in the country and factors that determine its spatial distribution. 2. The depleting water resources may lead to social conflicts and disputes. Elaborate it with suitable examples. 3. What is watershed management? Do you think it can play an important role in sustainable development? Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, Chapter 5. Mineral and energy resources. India is endowed with a rich variety of mineral resources due to its varied geological structure. Bulk of the valuable minerals are products of pre-Paleozoic age, refer, Chapter 2 of Class 11, textbook, Fundamentals of Physical Geography, and are mainly associated with metamorphic and igneous rocks of the peninsular India. The vast alluvial plain tract of North India is devoid of minerals of economic use. The mineral resources provide the country with the necessary base for industrial development. In this chapter, we shall discuss the availability of various types of mineral and energy resources in the country. A mineral is a natural substance of organic or inorganic origin with definite chemical and physical properties. Types of minor mineral are res are ESUR sources CES. On the basis of chemical and physical properties, minerals may be grouped under two main categories of metallics and non-metallics, which may further be classified as follows. Figure 5.1 Classification of minerals. 54 India, people and economy. As it is clear from the figure 5.1, metallic minerals are the sources of metals. Iron, ore, copper, gold produce metal and are included in this category. Metallic minerals are further divided into ferrous and non-ferrous metallic minerals. Ferrous, as you know, refers to iron. All those minerals which have iron content are ferrous, such as iron ore itself, and those which do not have iron content are non-ferrous, such as copper, bauxite, etc. Non-metallic minerals are either organic in origin, such as fossil fuels, also known as mineral fuels, which are derived from the buried animal and plant life, such as coal and petroleum. Other type of non-metallic minerals are inorganic in origin, such as mica, limestone, and graphite, etc. Minerals have certain characteristics. These are unevenly distributed over space. There is inverse relationship in quality and quantity of minerals, i.e. good quality minerals are less in quantity as compared to low QUALITYMINERALS. THETHIRDMAIN characteristic is that all minerals are exhaustible over time. These take long to develop geologically and they cannot be replenished immediately at the time of need. Thus, they have to be conserved and not misused as they do not have the second crop. Distribution of minerals in India. 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 Most of the metallic minerals in India occur in the peninsular plateau region in the old crystalline rocks. Over 97% of coal reserves occur in the valleys of Damodar, Son, Mahanadi, and Godavari. Petroleum reserves are located in the sedimentary basins of Assam, Gujarat, and Mumbai High, i.e. offshore region in the Arabian Sea. New reserves have been located in the Krishna Godavari and Kaveri basins. Most of the major mineral resources occur to the east of a line linking Mangaluru and Kanpur. Minerals are generally concentrated in three broad belts in India. There may be some sporadic occurrences here and there in isolated pockets. These belts are the Northeastern Plateau region. This belt covers Kotanagpur, Jharkhand, Odisha Plateau, West Bengal, and parts of Chhattisgarh. Have you ever thought about the reason of major iron and steel industry being located in this region? It has variety of minerals, viz. iron or coal, manganese, bauxite, mica. Find out the specific region where these minerals are being extracted. The Southwestern Plateau region. This belt extends over Karnataka, Goa, and contiguous Tamil Nadu uplands and Kerala. This belt is rich in ferrous metals and bauxite. It also contains high-grade iron, ore, manganese, and limestone. This belt lacks in coal deposits except navally lignite. This belt does not have as diversified mineral deposits as the northeastern belt. Kerala has deposits of monazite and thorium, bauxite clay. Goa has iron ore deposits. The northwestern region. This belt extends along Arvali in Rajasthan and part of Gujarat, and minerals are associated with Darwar system of rocks. Copper, zinc have been major minerals. Rajasthan is rich in building stones, i.e. sandstone, granite, marble. Gypsum and fuller's earth deposits are also extensive. Dolomite and limestone provide raw materials for cement industry. Gujarat is known for its petroleum deposits. You may be knowing that Gujarat and Rajasthan both have rich sources of salt. Why and where Dandi March was organized by Mahatma Gandhi. The Himalayan belt is another mineral belt where copper, lead, zinc, cobalt, and tungsten are known to occur. They occur on both the eastern and western parts. Assam Valley has mineral and energy resources. 55. Mineral oil deposits. Besides, oil resources are also found in offshore areas near Mumbai coast, Mumbai High. In the following pages you will find the spatial pattern of some of the important minerals. Ferrous mineral. FEROUSMINERALSSUCHASIRONORE, manganese, chromite, etc. provide a strong base for the development of metallurgical industries. Our country is well placed in respect of ferrous minerals both in reserves and production. Iron ore. India is endowed with fairly abundant resources of iron ore. It has the largest reserve of iron ore in Asia. The two main types of ore found in our country are hematite and magnetite. ITHASGREA. The two main types of ore found in our country are hematite and magnetite. ITHASGREATDEMANDIN international market due to its superior quality. The iron ore mines occur in close proximity to the coal fields in the northeastern plateau region of the country, which adds to their advantage. About 95% of total reserves of iron ore is located in the states of Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Goa, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu. In Odisha, iron ore occurs in a series of hill ranges in Sundargarh, Mayurbhanj and Jar. The important mines are Goramahasani, Sulapet, Badampahar, Mayurbhanj, Karuburu, Kendujar, and Banai Sundargarh. Similar hill ranges, Jharkhand has some of the oldest iron ore mines, and most of the iron and steel plants are located around them. Most of the important mines such as Nomundi and Gua are located in Purbi and Paschimi Singhbhum districts. This belt further extends to Durg, Dantewara and Bilatala. Dulli and Rudra in Durg are the important mines of iron ore in the country. In Karnataka, iron ore deposits occur in Sandarhaspet area of Ballari district, Bababudin Hills and Kudramukh in Chikamagaluru district and parts of Shivamogga, Chitradurg and Tumakuri districts. The districts of Chandrapur, Bandara and Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, Karimnagar and Warangal district of Telangana, Kurnool, Kadapa and Anantapur districts of Andhra Pradesh, Salem and Nilgiris districts of Tamil Nadu are other iron mining regions. Goa has also emerged as an important producer of iron ore. Manganese. Manganese is an important raw material for smelting of iron ore and also used for manufacturing ferroalloys. Manganese deposits are found in almost all geological formations, however, it is mainly associated with Dharwar system. Madhya Pradesh and Odisha are the leading producers of manganese. Major mines in Odisha are located in the central part of the iron ore belt of India, particularly in Bonai, Kendujar, Sundargarh, Gangpur, Korapat, Kalahandi, and Bolangar. Can you find out its reason? India, people and economy. Figure 5.2, India, metallic minerals, ferrous. Mineral and energy resources 57. The manganese belt of Madhya Pradesh extends in a belt in Balaghat, Chhindwara, Nimmermandla and Jhabua districts. Karnataka is another major producer, and here the mines are located in Dharwar, Ballari, Belagavi, North Kannada, Chikmagaluru, Shivamogga, Chitradurg and Tumkuru. Maharashtra is also an important producer of manganese, which is mined in Nagpur, Bandara and Ratnagiri districts. The disadvantage to these mines is that they are located far from steel plants. Telangana, Goa and Jharkhand are other minor producers of manganese. Non-ferrous minerals. India is poorly endowed with non-ferrous metallic minerals except bauxite. Bauxite. Bauxite is the ore which is used in manufacturing of aluminium. Bauxite is found mainly in tertiary deposits and is associated with laterite rocks occurring extensively either on the plateau or hill ranges of peninsular India and also in the coastal tracts of the country. Odisha happens to be the largest producer of bauxite. Kalahandi and Sambalpur are the leading producers. The other two areas which have been increasing their production are Bolangar and Korapat. The patlands of Lohardaga in Jharkhand have rich deposits. Gujarat, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra are other major producers. Bhavanagar and Jamnagar in Gujarat have the major deposits. Chhattisgarh has bauxite deposits in Amarkantak Plateau, while Kutni Jabalpur area and Balaghat in MP have important deposits of bauxite. Kalaba, Thane, Ratnagiri, Satara, Pune and Kolhapur in Maharashtra are important producers. Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Goa are minor producers of bauxite. Copper. Copper is an indispensable metal in the electrical industry for making wires, electric motors, transformers, and generators. It is alloyable, malleable, and ductile. It is also mixed with gold to provide strength to jewelry. The copper deposits mainly occur in Singhbhum district in Jharkhand, Balaghat district in Madhya Pradesh, and Jhunjhunu and Alwar districts in Rajasthan. Minor producers of copper are Agnigundala in Guntur district, Andhra Pradesh, Chitradurg and Hassan districts, Karnataka, and South Arcot district, Tamil Nadu. Non-metallic minerals. Among the non-metallic minerals produced in India, mica is the important one. The other minerals extracted for local consumption are limestone, dolomite, and phosphate. Mica. Mica is mainly used in the electrical and electronic industries. It can be split into very thin sheets which are tough and flexible. Mica in India is produced in Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Rajasthan, followed by Tamil Nadu, West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh. In Jharkhand, high-quality mica is obtained in a belt extending over a distance of about 150 kilometers in length and about 22 kilometers in width in Lower Hazaribagh Plateau. In Andhra Pradesh, Nellore district produces the best quality mica. In Rajasthan, mica belt extends for about 320 kilometers from Jaipur to Bhilwara and around Udaipur. Mica deposits also occur in Mysore and Hassan districts of Karnataka, Coimbatore, Tiruchirappalli, Madurai and Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu, Alleppey in Kerala, Ratnagiri in Maharashtra, Purulia and Bankura in West Bengal. Energy resources. Mineral fuels are essential for generation of power required by agriculture, industry, transport and other sectors of the economy. Mineral fuels like coal, petroleum, and natural gas, known as fossil fuels, nuclear energy minerals, are the conventional sources of energy. These conventional sources are exhaustible resources. Figure 5.3, India, minerals, non-ferrous. Mineral and energy resources 59. Processed in petrochemical industries such as fertilizer, synthetic rubber, synthetic fiber, medicines, Vaseline, lubricants, wax, soap, and cosmetics. Petroleum is referred to as liquid gold because of its scarcity and diversified uses. CRUDEPETROLEUMOCCURSIN sedimentary rocks of the Tertiary period. Oil, EXPLORATIONANDPRODUCTIONWAS systematically taken up after the Oil and Natural Gas Commission was set up in 1956. Till then, Digboe in Assam was the only oil-producing region, but the scenario changed after 1956. In recent years, new oil deposits have been found at the extreme western and eastern parts of the country. In Assam, Digboe, Naharkatia, and Moran are important oil-producing areas. The major oil fields of Gujarat are Ankleshwar, Kullal, Mehsana, Nawagam, Kosamba, and Lunaj. Mumbai High, which lies 160 kilometers off MUMBAIWASDISCOVEREDIN 1973, AND production commenced in 1976. Oil and natural gas have been found in exploratory wells in Krishna Godavari and Kaveri Basin on the east coast. Oil extracted from the wells is crude oil and contains many impurities. It cannot be used directly. It needs to be refined. There are two types of refineries in India, A, field-based, and B, market-based. Digboe is an example of field-based and Burani is an example of market-based refinery. Natural gas. Natural gas is found with petroleum deposits and is released when crude oil is brought to. Coal. Coal is one of the important minerals which is mainly used in the generation of thermal power and smelting of iron ore. Coal occurs in rock sequences mainly of two geological ages, namely Gondwana and Tertiary deposits. About 80% of the coal deposits in India is of bituminous type and is of non-coking grade. The most important Gondwana coal fields of India are located in Damodar Valley. They lie in Jharkhand-Bengal coal belt, and the important coal fields in this region are Raniganj, Jharia, Bokaro, Jirdi, Karanpura. Jharia is the largest coal field, followed by Raniganj. The other river valleys associated with coal are Godavari, Mahanadi, and Son. The most important coal mining centers are Singarali in Madhya Pradesh. Part of Singarali coal field lies in Uttar Pradesh, Korba in Chhattisgarh, Talcher and Rampur in Odisha, Chanda, Vardha, Kampati and Bandar in Maharashtra, and Singarini in Telangana and Pandur in Andhra Pradesh. Tertiary coals occur in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, and Nagaland. It is extracted from Dharanjiri, Cherrapunji, Mulong and Longrin, Meghalaya, Mukum, Jaipur, and Nujara in Upper Assam, Namchik, Namphuk, Arunachal Pradesh, and Calicut, Jammu and Kashmir. Besides, the brown coal or lignite occur in the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Gujarat, and Jammu and Kashmir. Petroleum. Crude petroleum consists of hydrocarbons of liquid and gaseous states varying in chemical composition, color, and specific gravity. It is an essential source of energy for all internal combustion engines in automobiles, railways, and aircraft. Its numerous byproducts are India, people and economy. Activity, collect information about cross-country natural gas pipelines laid by GAIL, India, under One Nation, One Grid. The surface. It can be used as a domestic and industrial fuel. It is used as fuel in power sector to generate electricity for heating purpose in industries as raw material in chemical, petrochemical, and fertilizer industries. With the expansion of gas infrastructure and local city gas distribution (COD) networks, natural gas is also emerging as a preferred transport fuel (CNG) and cooking fuel (PNG) at homes. India's major gas reserves are found in the Mumbai High and allied fields along the west coast, which are supplemented by finds in the Cambay Basin. Along the east coast, new reserves of natural gas have been discovered in the Krishna Godavari Basin. Non-conventional energy sources. Fossil fuel sources such as coal, petroleum, naturalgasand nuclearenergy exhaustible raw materials. Sustainable energy resources are only the renewable energy sources like solar, wind, hydrogeothermal, and biomass. These energy sources are more equitably distributed and environment-friendly. The non-conventional. Pradesh. Thorium is mainly obtained from monazite and ilmenite in the beach sands along the coast of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. World's richest monazite deposits occur in Palakkad and Kollam districts of Kerala, near Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, and Mahanadi River Delta in Odisha. Atomic Energy Commission was established in 1948. Progress could be made only after the establishment of the Atomic Energy Institute at Trombay in 1954, which was renamed as the Babha Atomic Research Center in 1967. The important nuclear power projects are Tarapur, Maharashtra, Rawatpeta near Kota, Rajasthan, Kalpakkam, Tamil Nadu, Narora, Uttar Pradesh, Kaiga, Karnataka, and Kakarapura, Gujarat. Solar energy. Sun rays tapped in photovoltaic cells can be converted into energy known as solar energy. The two effective processes considered to be very effective to tap solar energy are photovoltaics and solar thermal technology. Solar thermal technology has some relative advantages over all other non-renewable energy sources. It is cost-competitive, environment-friendly, and easy. Mineral and energy resources. 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 63, 63, 63, 63, 63. Besides these, local winds, land and sea breezes can also be used to produce electricity. India already has started generating wind energy. In Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra and Karnataka, favorable conditions for wind energy exist. Tidal and wave energy. Ocean currents are the storehouse of infinite energy. Since the beginning of 17th and 18th century, persistent efforts were made to create a more efficient energy system from the ceaseless tidal waves and ocean current. Large tidal waves are known to occur along the west coast of India. Hence, India has great potential for the development of tidal energy along the coasts, but so far these have not yet been utilized. Geothermal energy. When the magma from the interior of Earth comes out on the surface, tremendous heat is released. This heat energy can successfully be tapped and converted to electrical energy. Apart from this, the hot water that gushes out through the geyser wells is also used in the generation of thermal energy. It is popularly known as geothermal energy. This energy is now considered to be one of the key energy sources which can be developed as an alternate source. The hot springs and geysers are being used since medieval period. In India, a geothermal energy plant has been commissioned at Manikaran in Himachal Pradesh. 64 India, people and economy. The first successful 1890 attempt to tap the underground heat was made in the city of Boise, Idaho, USA, where a hot water pipe network was built to give heat to the surrounding buildings. This plant is still working. Bioenergy. Bioenergy refers to energy derived from biological products, which includes agricultural residues, municipal, industrial, and other wastes. Bioenergy is a potential source of energy conversion. It can be converted into electrical energy, heat energy, or gas for cooking. It will also process the waste and garbage and produce energy. This will improve economic life of rural areas in developing countries, reduce environmental pollution, enhance self-reliance, and reduce pressure on fuel wood. One such project converting municipal waste into energy is Okhla in Delhi. Conservation of mineral resources. 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 The challenge of sustainable development requires integration of quest for economic development with environmental concerns. Traditional methods of resource use result into generating enormous quantity of waste as well as create other environmental problems. Hence, for sustainable development calls for the protection of resources for the future generations. There is an urgent need to conserve the resources. The alternative energy sources like solar power, wind, wave, geothermal energy are inexhaustible resource. These should be developed to replace the exhaustible resources. In case of metallic minerals, use of scrap metals will enable recycling of metals. Use of scrap is especially significant in metals like copper, lead and zinc, in which India's reserves are meager. Use of substitutes for scarce metals may also reduce their consumption. Export of strategic and scarce minerals must be reduced so that the existing reserve may be used for a longer period. Exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. I. In which one of the following states are the major oil fields located? A. Assam. C. Rajasthan. B. Bihar. D. Tamil Nadu. 2. At which one of the following places was the first atomic power station started? A. Kalpakkam. C. Rana Pratap Sagar. B. Narora. D. Tarapur. 3. Which one of the following is non-renewable source of energy? A. Hydel. C. Thermal. B. Solar. D. Wind power. Mineral and energy resources. 65. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. Give an account of the distribution of mica in India. 2. What is nuclear power? Mention the important nuclear power stations in India. 3. Name non-ferrous metal. Discuss their spatial distribution. 6. What are non-conventional sources of energy? 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Write a detailed note on the petroleum resources of India. 2. Write an essay on hydel power in India. Which reforms and reconstruction are often undertaken? Generally, there are two approaches to planning, i.e., sectoral planning and regional planning. Sectoral planning means formulation and implementation of the sets of schemes or programs aimed at development of various sectors of the economy such as agriculture, irrigation, manufacturing, power, CONST or UCTION, transport, communication, social infrastructure, and services. There is no uniform economic development over space in any country. Some areas are more developed and some lag behind. This uneven pattern of development over space necessitates that the planners have a spatial perspective and draw the plans to reduce regional imbalance in development. This type of planning is termed as regional planning. Unit 3, Chapter 6. Planning and Sustainable Development in Indian Context. The word planning is not new to you as it is a part of everyday usage. You must have used it with reference to preparation for your examination or visit to a hill station. It involves the process of thinking, formulation of a scheme or program, and implementation of a set of actions to achieve some goal. Though it is a very broad term, in this chapter it has been used with reference to the process of economic development. It is, thus, different from the traditional hit-and-miss methods by. On January 1, 2015, the NCERT Aayog was formed. India adopted centralized planning after independence, but subsequently it graduated into decentralized multi-level planning. The responsibility of plan formulation was with the Planning Commission at the center, state, and district levels. But on January 1, 2015, the Planning Commission was replaced by the NCERT Aayog. NCERT Aayog has been set up with the objective of involving the states in economic policy making for India for providing strategic and technical advice to the central and state governments. Plantation, agriculture, animal husbandry, poultry, forestry, and small-scale and village industry. Drought-prone area program. This program was initiated during the fourth five-year plan with the objectives of providing employment to the people in drought-prone areas and creating productive assets. Initially, this program laid emphasis on the construction of labor-intensive civil works. But later on it emphasized on irrigation projects, land development programs, afforestation, grassland development, and creation of basic rural infrastructure such as electricity, roads, market, credit, and services. The National Committee on Development of Backward Areas reviewed the performance of this program. It has been observed that this program is largely confined to the development of agriculture and allied sectors with major focus on restoration of ecological balance. Since growing population pressure is forcing the society to utilize the marginal lands for agriculture and thereby causing ecological degradation, there is a need to create alternative employment opportunities in the drought-prone areas. The other strategies of development of these areas include adoption of integrated watershed development approach at the micro level. The restoration of ecological balance between water, soil, plants, and human and animal population should be a basic consideration in the strategy of development of drought-prone areas. The Planning Commission of India, 1967, identified 67 districts, entire or partly, of the country prone to drought. The Irrigation Commission, 1972, introduced the criterion of 30% irrigated area and demarcated the drought-prone areas. Broadly, the drought-prone area in India spread over semi-arid and arid tract of Rajasthan, Gujarat, western Madhya Pradesh, Marathwada region of Maharashtra, Rayalaseema and Telangana plateaus of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka plateau and highlands and interior parts of Tamil Nadu. The drought-prone areas of Punjab, Haryana, and North Rajasthan are largely protected due to spread of irrigation in these regions. Planning and Sustainable Development in Indian Context 67. Target Area Planning. The planning process has to take special care of those areas which have remained economically backward. As you know, the economic development of a region depends upon its resource base. But sometimes resource-rich regions also remain backward. Economic development requires technology as well as investment besides resources. With the planning experience of about 1.5 decades, it was realized that regional imbalances in economic development were getting accentuated. In order to arrest the accentuation of regional and social disparities, the Planning Commission introduced the target area and target group approaches to planning. Some of the examples of programs directed towards the development of target areas are Command Area Development Program, Drought-Prone Area Development Program, Desert Development Program, Hill Area Development Program. The Small Farmers Development Agency, SFDA, and Marginal Farmers Development Agency, MFDA, which are the examples of target group program. In the 8th five-year plan, special area programs were designed to develop infrastructure in hill areas, northeastern states, tribal areas, and backward areas. Hill Area Development Program. Hill Area Development Programs were initiated during the 5th five-year plan covering 15 districts comprising all the hilly districts of Uttar Pradesh, present Uttarakhand, Maikir Hill and North Kutcher Hills of Assam, Darjeeling District of West Bengal and Nilgirai District of Tamil Nadu. The National Committee on the Development of Backward Area in 1981 recommended that all the hill areas in the country having height above 600 m and not covered under tribal subplan be treated as backward hill areas. The detailed plans for the development of hill areas were drawn keeping in view their topographical, ecological, social, and economic conditions. These programs aimed at harnessing the indigenous resources of the hill areas through development of horticulture. Case study: Integrated Tribal Development Project in Barmore * region. Barmore Tribal Area comprises Barmore and Holy Tehsils of Chumba district of Himachal Pradesh. It is a notified tribal area since November 21, 1975. Barmore is inhabited by Guddi, a tribal community who have maintained a distinct identity in the Himalayan region as they practice transhumance and converse through Gadiali dialect. Barmore tribal region has harsh climate conditions, low resource base, and fragile environment. These factors have influenced the society and economy of the region. According to the 2011 census, the total population of Barmore subdivision was 39,113, i.e., 21 persons per square km. It is one of the most economically and socially backward areas of Himachal Pradesh. Historically, the Gaddis have experienced geographical and political isolation and socio-economic deprivation. The economy is largely based on agriculture and allied activities such as sheep and goat rearing. The process of development of tribal area of Barmore started in 1970s when Gaddis were included among scheduled tribes. Under Figure 6.1. *, the name Barmore is derived from Sanskrit word Brahmor. In this book, Barmore has been used to retain the colloquial flavor. The fifth five-year plan, the tribal subplan, was introduced in 1974 and Barmore was designated as one of the 5 Integrated Tribal Development Projects, ITDP, in Himachal Pradesh. This area development plan was aimed at improving the quality of life of the Gaddis. This region lies between 32 degrees 11 minutes north and 32 degrees 41 minutes north latitudes and 76 degrees 22 minutes east and 76 degrees 53 minutes east longitudes. Spread over an area of about 1,818 square kilometers, the region mostly lies between 1,500 m to 3,700 m above the mean sea level. This region, popularly known as the homeland of Gaddis, is surrounded by lofty mountains on all sides. It has Pir Punjal in the north and Dauladhar in the south. In the east, the extension of Dauladhar converges with Pir Punjal near Rohtang Pass. The river Ravi and its tributaries, the Boothil and the Tundahen, drain this territory and carve out deep gorges. These rivers divide the region into 4 physiographic divisions called Holi, Kani, Kubdi and Tunda areas. Barmore experiences freezing weather conditions and snowfall in winter. Its mean monthly temperature in January remains 4 degrees Celsius and in July 26 degrees Celsius. Planning and Sustainable Development in Indian Context 69. Figure 6.2. And narrowing the gap in the level of development between Barmore and other areas of Himachal Pradesh. This plan laid the highest priority on development of transport and communications, agriculture and allied activities, and social and community services. The most significant contribution of tribal subplan in Barmore region is the development of infrastructure in terms of schools, healthcare facilities, potable water, roads, communications, and electricity. But the villages located along the river Ravi and Holi and Kani areas are the main beneficiaries of infrastructural development. The remote villages in Tunda and Kugdi areas still do not have sufficient infrastructure. The social benefits derived from ITDP include tremendous increase in literacy rate, improvement in sex ratio, and decline in child marriage. The female literacy rate in the region increased from 1.88% in 1971 to 65% in 2011. The difference between males and females in literacy level, i.e. gender inequality, has also declined. Traditionally, the Gaddis had subsistence agricultural pastoral economy having emphasis on food, grains, and livestock production. But during the last 3 decades of 20th century, the cultivation of pulses and other cash crops has increased in Barmore region. But the crop cultivation is still done with traditional technology. The declining importance of pastoralism in the economy of the region can be gauged from the fact that at present only about 1/10 of the total households practice transhumance. But the Gaddis are still very mobile, as a sizable section of them migrate to Kangra and surrounding areas during winter to earn their livings from wage labor. Sustainable development, sustainable development, sustainable development, sustainable development, sustainable development. The term development is generally used to describe the state of particular societies and the process of changes experienced by them. During a fairly large period of human history, the state of the societies has largely been determined by the interaction processes between human societies and their biophysical environment. The processes of human-environment interaction depend upon the level of technology and institutions nurtured by a society. While the technology and institutions have helped in increasing the pace of human-environment interaction, the momentum thus generated in return has accelerated technological progress and transformation and creation of institutions. Hence, development is a multidimensional concept and signifies the positive, irreversible transformation of the economy, society, and environment. The concept of development is dynamic and has evolved during the second half of 20th century. In the post-World War II era, the concept of development was synonymous to economic growth, which is measured in terms of temporal increase in gross national product, GNP, and per capita income/per capita consumption. But even the countries having high economic growth experienced speedy rise in poverty because of its unequal distribution. So, in 1970s, the phrases such as redistribution with growth and equity were incorporated in the definition of development. While dealing with the questions related to redistribution and equity, it was realized that the concept of development cannot be restricted to the economic sphere alone. It also includes the issues such as improving the well-being and living standard of people, availing of the health, education, and equality of opportunity, and ensuring political and civil rights. By 1980s, development emerged as a concept encapsulating widespread improvement in social as well as material well-being of all in a society. The notion of sustainable development emerged in the wake of general rise in the awareness of environmental issues in the late 1960s in Western world. The notion of sustainable development emerged in the wake of general rise in the awareness of environmental issues in the late 1960s in Western world. It reflected the concern of people about undesirable effects of industrial development on the environment. The publication of The Population Bomb by Ehrlich in 1968 and The Limits to Growth by Meadows and others in 1972 further raised the level of fear among environmentalists in particular and people in general. This sets the scenario for the emergence of new models of development under a broad phrase, sustainable development. Concerned with the growing opinion of world community on the environmental issues, the United Nations established a World Commission on Environment and Development, WCED, headed by the Norwegian Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland. The Commission gave its report, also known as Brundtland Report, entitled Our Common Future, in 1987. The report defines sustainable development as a development that meets the needs of the present, without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sustainable development takes care of ecological, social, and economic aspects of development during the present times and pleads. Planning and Sustainable Development in Indian Context 71. Figure 6.3. For conservation of resources to enable the future generations to use these resources. It takes into account the development of whole humankind which have common future. Case study. Indira Gandhi Canal, Nahar, Command Area. Indira Gandhi Canal, previously known as the Rajasthan Canal, is one of the largest canal systems in India. Conceived by Kunwar Sane in 1948, the canal project was launched on March 31, 1958. The canal originates at Haraik Barrage in Punjab and runs parallel to Pakistan border at an average distance of 40 kilometers in their desert, Marustali, of Rajasthan. The total planned length of the system is 9,060 kilometers, catering to the irrigation needs of a total cultivable command area of 19.63 lakh hectares. Out of the total command area, about 70% was envisaged to be irrigated by flow system and the rest by lift system. The construction work of the canal system has been carried out through 2 stages. The command area of Stage I lies in Gangangar, Hanumangarh, and northern part of Bikaner districts. It has a gently undulating topography and its cultivable command area is 5.53 lakh hectares. The command area of Stage II is spread over Bikaner, Jaisalmer, Barmer, Jodhpur, Nagaur and Churu districts covering cultivable command area of 14.10 lakh ha. It comprises desert land dotted with shifting sand dunes and temperature soaring to 50 degrees Celsius in summers. In the lift canal, the water is lifted up to make it to flow against the slope of the land. All the lift canals of Indira Gandhi Canal system originate at the left bank of Main Canal, while all the canals on the right bank of Main Canal are flow channels. Irrigation in Stage I command area of the canal was introduced in early 1960s, whereas the command area of Stage II began receiving irrigation in mid-1980s. The introduction of canal irrigation in this dry land has transformed its ecology, economy ANDSOCIETY, ITHASINFLUENCEDT, environmental conditions of the region, both POSITIVEL, YASWEL, LASN, EGATIVELY. THE availability of soil moisture for a longer period of time and various afforestation and pasture development programs under CAD have resulted in greening the land. This has also helped in reducing wind erosion and siltation of canal systems. But the intensive irrigation and excessive use of water has led to the emergence of twin environmental problems of waterlogging and soil salinity. Introduction of canal irrigation has brought about a perceptible transformation in the agricultural economy of the region. Soil moisture has been a limiting factor in successful growing of crops in this area. Spread of canal irrigation has led to increase in cultivated area and intensity of cropping. The traditional crops sown in the area, gram, bajra and jowar, have been replaced by wheat, cotton, groundnut and rice. This is the result of intensive irrigation. This intensive irrigation, no doubt, initially has led to tremendous increase in agricultural and livestock productivity. This has also caused waterlogging. Figure 6.5, Indira Gandhi Canal and its adjoining areas. Figure 6.4, Indira Gandhi Canal. Planning and Sustainable Development in Indian Context 73. And soil salinity, and thus, in the long run, it hampers the sustainability of agriculture. Measures for promotion of sustainable development. The ecological sustainability of Indira Gandhi Canal project has been questioned by various scholars. Their point of view has also largely been validated by the course of development this region has taken during the last 4 decades, which has resulted in degradation of physical environment. It is a hard fact that attaining sustainable development in the command area requires major thrust upon the measures to achieve ecological sustainability. Hence, 5 of the 7 measures proposed to promote sustainable development in the command area are meant to restore ecological balance. The first requirement is strict implementation of water management policy. The canal project envisages protective irrigation in Stage I and extensive irrigation of crops and pasture development in Stage II. 2. In general, the cropping pattern shall not include water-intensive crops. It shall be adhered to and people shall be encouraged to grow plantation crops such as citrus fruits. 3. The CAD programs such as lining of watercourses, land development and leveling and war bandy system, equal distribution of canal water in the command area of outlet, shall be effectively implemented to reduce the conveyance loss of water. 4. The areas affected by water logging and soil salinity shall be reclaimed. The eco-development through afforestation, shelter belt plantation and pasture development is necessary particularly in the fragile environment of Stage II. 6. The social sustainability in the region can be achieved only if the landladies having poor economic background are provided adequate financial and institutional support for cultivation of land. 7. The economic sustainability in the region cannot be attained only through development of agriculture and animal husbandry. The agricultural and allied activities have to develop along with other sectors of economy. This shall lead to diversification of economic base and establishment of functional linkages between basic villages, agro-service centers, and market centers. Exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. At development of various sectors of economy. B. Area-specific approach of development. C. Area differences in transportation network. D. Development of rural areas. 3. Which one of the following is the most crucial factor for sustainable development in Indira Gandhi Canal Command Area? A. Agricultural development. B. Eco-development. C. Transport development. D. Colonization of land. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. What are the social benefits of ITDP in the Barmore tribal region? 2. Define the concept of sustainable development. 3. What are the positive impacts of irrigation on Indira Gandhi Canal Command Area? 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Write short notes on drought-prone area program. How does this program help in the development of dryland agriculture in India? 2. Suggest the measures of promotion of sustainability in Indira Gandhi Canal Command Area. Project. I. Find out the area development programs being implemented in your region. Assess the impact of such programs on the society and economy in your locality. 2. Select your own area or identify an area facing severe environmental and socioeconomic problems. Make an assessment of its resources and prepare their inventory. Suggest the measures for its sustainable development as it has been done in the case of Indira Gandhi Canal Command Area. Unit 4, Chapter 7. Transport and Communication. We use many items in our daily life. From toothpaste to our bed tea, milk, clothes, soaps, food items, etc. are required every day. All these can be purchased from the market. Have you ever thought as to how these items are brought from the site of production? All the production is meant for consumption. From the fields and factory, the produce is brought to the place from where consumers purchase it. It is the transportation of these items from the site of their production to the market which make them available to the consumer. We not only use material things like fruits, vegetables, books, clothes, etc., but also use ideas, views, and messages in our daily life. Do you know we exchange our views, ideas, and messages from one place to another or one individual to another while communicating with the help of various means? The use of transport and communication depends upon our need to move things from place of their availability to the place of their use. Human beings use various methods to move goods, commodities, ideas from one place to another. The following diagram shows the major means of transportation. Land T Land T Land T Land T Land T R R R Ranspor Anspor 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 Ansport T T T T. The pathways and unmetalled roads have been used for transportation in India since ancient times. With the economic and technological development, metalled roads and railways were developed to move large volume of goods and 76 India people and economy. People from one place to another. Ropeways, cableways and pipelines were devised to cater to the demands of transporting specific goods under special circumstances. Road transport. India has one of the second largest road networks in the world with a total length of about 62.16 lakh km. Annual Report 2020-21. The Princely States and British India. After independence, 20-year road plan, 1961, was introduced to improve the conditions of roads in India. However, roads continue to concentrate in and around urban centers. Rural and remote areas had the least connectivity by road. For the purpose of construction and maintenance, roads are classified as national highways, NH, state highways, SH, major district roads, and rural roads. About 85% of passenger and 70% of freight traffic are carried by roads every year. Road transport is relatively suitable for shorter distance travel. Sher Shah Suri built the Shahi Royal Road to strengthen and consolidate his empire from the Indus Valley to the Sonar Valley in Bengal. This road was renamed the Grand Trunk (GT) Road during the British period, connecting Calcutta and Peshawar. At present, it extends from Amritsar to Kolkata. National highways. The main roads which are constructed and maintained by the central government are known as the national highways. These roads are meant for inter-state transport and movement of defense men and material in strategic areas. These also connect the state capitals, major cities, important ports, railway junctions, etc. The length of the national highways has increased from 19,700 kilometers in 1951 to 136 for 40 km in 2020. The national highways constitute only about 2% of the total road length but carry 40% of the road traffic. The National Highways Authority of India (NHAI) was operationalized in 1995. It is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Surface Transport. It is entrusted with the responsibility of development, maintenance, and operation of national highways. This is also the apex body to improve the quality of the roads designated as national highways. Figure 7.1. Collect information about national highway number, old and new, from the website. Road transport in modern sense was very limited in India before World War II. The first serious attempt was made in 1943 when Nagpur Plan was drawn. This plan could not be implemented due to lack of coordination among Transport and Communication. 77. Table 7.1, India Road Network 2020. National Highways, National Highways, National Highways, National Highways, National Highways, Development Projects, Development Projects, Development Projects, Development Projects, Development Projects. NHAI has taken up some major projects in the country under different phases. Golden Quadrilateral, it comprises construction of 5,846 kilometers long 4/6 lane, high-density traffic corridor to connect India's four big metro cities of Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata. With the construction of Golden Quadrilateral, the time, distance, and cost of movement among the megacities of India will be considerably minimized. North-South and East-West corridors. North-South corridor aims at connecting Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir with Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu, including Kochi-Salem Spur, with 4,076 kilometers long road. The East-West corridor has been planned to connect Silchar in Assam with the port town of Porbandar in Gujarat with 3,640 kilometers of road length. Rural roads. These roads are vital for providing links in the rural areas. About 80% of the total road length in India are categorized as rural roads. There is regional variation in the density of rural road because these are influenced by the nature of the terrain. State highways. These are constructed and maintained by state governments. They join the state capitals with district headquarters and other important towns. These roads are connected to the national highways. District roads. These roads are the connecting link between district headquarters and the other important nodes in the district. Figure 7.2, road constructed under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Why are the rural roads density very low in hilly, plateau, and forested areas? Why does the quality of rural roads deteriorate away from the urban centers? Source, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways Annual Report 2020-21. For latest data, see website. Other roads. Other roads include border roads and international highways. The Border Road Organization (BRO) was established in May 1960 for accelerating economic development and strengthening defense preparedness through rapid and coordinated improvement of strategically important roads along the northern and northeastern boundary of the country. It is a premier multifaceted construction agency. It has constructed roads in high-altitude mountainous terrain joining Chandigarh with Manali, Himachal Pradesh, and Leh Ladakh. This road runs at an average altitude of 4,270 meters above the mean sea level. Figure 7.4, a bus from Lahore to Delhi at Wagah border. Figure 7.5, Aman Setu between Baramulla and Muzaffarabad. Figure 7.3, Kardang La Pass in Ladakh. Apart from the construction and maintenance of roads in strategically sensitive areas, the Bureau also undertakes snow clearance in high-altitude areas. The international highways are meant to promote the harmonious relationship with the neighboring countries by providing effective links with India. Figure 7.4 and 7.5. The world's longest highway tunnel, Atal Tunnel, 9.02 kilometers, has been built by Border Road Organization. This tunnel connects Manali to Lahaul Spiti Valley throughout the year. Earlier, the valley was cut off for about 6 months each year owing to heavy snowfall. The tunnel is built with ultramodern specifications in the Pir Punjal range of Himalayas at an altitude of 3,000 meters from the mean sea level, MSL. Source, pagefing.asp, imid equals 144 and PIB Delhi October 3, 2020. Transport and Communications 79. Table 7.2, Indian Railways, Railway Zones and Headquarters. Why have Bengaluru and Hyderabad in the south and Delhi, Kanpur and Patna in North India have emerged as important nodes? Baramulla is a proposed umbrella scheme for development of state roads along coastal border areas including connectivity of non-major ports. 2. Backward areas religious and tourist places connectivity program. 3. Satubaratam Pariyojana, which is for the construction of about 1,500 major bridges and 200 rail over bridges rail under bridges, district headquarters connectivity scheme for the development of about 9,000 kilometers newly declared national highways. The program is targeted for completion by 2022. Source, Economic Survey 2015-16 pages 146. Rail transport. Indian Railways network is one of the longest in the world. It facilitates the movement of both freight and passengers and contributes to the growth of the economy. Mahatma Gandhi said, the Indian Railways brought people of diverse cultures together to contribute to Mahatma Gandhi said, the Indian Railways brought people of diverse cultures together to contribute to India's freedom struggle. Indian Railway was introduced in 1853 when a line was constructed from Bombay to Thane covering a distance of 34 kilometers. Indian Railways is the largest government undertaking in the country. The length of Indian Railways network was 67,956 kilometers, Railway Yearbook 2019-20. Its very large size puts a lot of pressure on a centralized railway management system. Thus, in India, the railway system has been divided into 17 zones. On the basis of the width of track of the Indian Railways, 3 categories have been made. Broad gauge, the distance between rails and broad gauge is 1.676 meter. The total length of broad gauge lines was 63,950 kilometers 2019-20. Meter gauge, the distance between rails is 1 meter. Its total length was 2,402 kilometers 2019-20. Narrow gauge, the distance between the rails in this case is 0.762 meter or 0.610 meter. The total length of narrow gauge was 1,604 kilometers 2019-20. It is generally confined to hilly areas. Figure 7.6, River Navigation in the Northeast. Indian Railways has launched extensive program to convert the meter and narrow gauges to broad gauge. Moreover, steam engines have been replaced by diesel and electric engines. This step has increased the speed as well as the haulage capacity. The replacement of steam engines run by coal has also improved the environment of the stations. Metro rail has revolutionized the urban transport system in India. Replacement of diesel buses by CNG-run vehicles along with the introduction of metro is a welcome step towards controlling the air pollution in urban centers. Areas around towns, raw material producing areas and of plantations and other commercial crops, hill stations and cantonment towns were well connected by railways from the British colonial era. These were mostly developed for the exploitation of resources. After the independence of the country, railway routes have been extended to other areas too. The most significant development has been the development of Konkan Railway along the western coast, providing a direct link between Mumbai and Mangaluru. Railway continues to remain the main means of transport for the masses. Railway network is relatively less dense in the hill states, northeastern states, central parts of India and Rajasthan. Water transport. Waterways is an important mode of transport for both passenger and cargo traffic in India. It is the cheapest means of transport and is most suitable for carrying heavy and bulky material. It is a fuel-efficient and eco-friendly mode of transport. The water transport is of 2 types, A. Inland waterways and B. Oceanic waterways. Inland waterways. It was the chief mode of transport before the advent of railways. It, however, faced tough competition from road and railway transport. Moreover, diversion of river water for irrigation purposes made them non-navigable and large. Konkan Railway, Konkan Railway, Konkan Railway, Konkan Railway, Konkan Railway. One of the important achievements of the Indian Railways has been the construction of Konkan Railway in 1998. It is 760 kilometers long rail route connecting Roa in Maharashtra to Mangalore in Karnataka. It is considered an engineering marvel. It crosses 146 rivers, streams, nearly 2,000 bridges and 91 tunnels. Asia's largest tunnel, which is nearly 6.5 kilometers long, also lies on this route. The states of Maharashtra, Goa and Karnataka are partners in this undertaking. Which cities of India have metro rail facility? Collect information about it and discuss in the classroom. Transport and Communication 81. Figure 7.7, National Waterway Number 3. Table 7.3:1 National Waterways of India. Parts of their courses. India has 14,500 kilometers of navigable waterways, contributing about 1% to the country's transportation. It comprises rivers, canals, backwaters, creeks, etc. At present, 5,685 kilometers of major rivers are navigable by mechanized flat-bottom vessels. For the development, maintenance, and regulation of national waterways in the country, the Inland Waterways Authority was set up in 1986. The following waterways have been declared as the national waterways by the government. Table 7.3. 8282828282 India, People and Economy India, People and Economy India, People and Economy India, People and Economy India, People and Economy. The Inland Waterways Authority has also identified 10 other inland waterways which could be upgraded. The backwaters Kadal of Kerala has special significance in inland waterway. Apart from providing cheap means of transport, they are also attracting a large number of tourists in Kerala. The famous Nehru Trophy boat race Valamkali is also held in the backwaters. Oceanic routes, oceanic routes, oceanic routes, oceanic routes, oceanic routes. India has a vast coastline of approximate 7,517 kilometers, including islands. 12 major and 200 minor ports provide infrastructural support to these routes. Oceanic routes play an important role in the transport sector of India's economy. Approximately 95% of India's foreign trade by volume and 70% by value moves through ocean routes. Apart from international trade, these are also used for the purpose of transportation between the islands and the rest of the country. Air transportation, sportation. Air transport is the fastest means of movement from one place to the other. It has reduced distances by minimizing the travel time. It is essential for a vast country like India, where distances are large and the terrain and climatic conditions are diverse. Air transport in India made a beginning in 1911 when airmail operation commenced over a little distance of 10 kilometers between Allahabad and Naini. But its real development took place in post-independent period. The Airport Authority of India is responsible for providing safe, efficient air traffic and aeronautical communication services in Indian airspace. Udaan Desh Ka Aam Nagrik is a first-of-its-kind scheme globally designed to jumpstart the regional aviation market. Regional Connectivity Scheme, RCS, UDAN was conceived by the Ministry of Aviation, MOCA, Government of India to promote regional connectivity by making fly affordable for the common citizen. The central idea of the scheme is to encourage airlines to operate flights on regional and remote routes through enabling policies and extending incentives. Pawan Hans is the helicopter service operating in hilly areas and is widely used by tourists in northeastern sector. In addition, Pawan Hans Limited mainly provides helicopter services to petroleum sector and for tourism. Oil and gas pipelines, oil and gas pipelines, oil and gas pipelines, oil and gas pipelines, oil and gas pipelines. Pipelines are the most convenient and efficient mode of transporting liquids and gases over long distances. Even solids can also be transported by pipelines after converting them into slurry. Oil India Limited, oil, under the administrative setup of the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, is engaged in the exploration, production and transportation of crude oil and natural gas. It was incorporated in 1959 as a company. Asia's first cross-country pipeline covering a distance of 1,157 kilometers was constructed by Oil from Naharkatia oil field in Assam to Barani refinery in Bihar. It was further extended up to Kanpur in 1966. GAIL, India Ltd. was set up in 1984 as a public sector undertaking to transport, process and market natural gas for its economic use. The first 1,700 kilometers long Hajirabajapur-Jagdishpur, HVJ, cross-country gas pipeline, constructed by GAIL, India, linked Mumbai. Transport and Communication 83. High-end basin gas fields with various fertilizer, power and industrial complexes in western and northern India. This artery provided impetus to Indian gas market development. Overall, India's gas infrastructure has expanded over 10 times from 1,700 kilometers to 18,500 kilometers of cross-country pipelines and is expected to soon reach over 34,000 kilometers as gas grid by linking all the gas sources and consuming markets across the country, including northeastern states. Communication networks, communication networks, communication networks, communication networks, communication networks. Human beings have evolved different methods of communication over time. In earlier times, the messages were delivered by beating the drum or hollow tree trunks, giving indications through smoke or fire or with the help of fast runners. Horses, camels, dogs, birds, and other animals were also used to send messages. Initially, the means of communication were also the means of transportation. Invention of post office, telegraph, printing press, telephone, satellite, etc. has made the communication much faster and Invention of post office, telegraph, printing press, telephone, satellite, etc. has made the communication much faster and easier. Development in the field of science and technology has significantly contributed in bringing about revolution in the field of communication. People use different modes of communication to convey the messages. On the basis of scale and quality, the mode of communication can be divided into following categories. Personal communication system. Among all the personal communication system, Internet is the most effective and advanced one. It is widely used in urban areas. It enables the user to establish direct contact through email to get access to the world of knowledge and information. It is increasingly used for e-commerce and carrying out money transactions. The Internet is like a huge central warehouse of data with detailed information on various items. The network through Internet and email provides an efficient access to information at a comparatively low cost. It enables us with the basic facilities of direct communication. Mass communication system. Radio. Radio broadcasting started in India in 1923 by the Radio Club of Bombay. Since then, it gained immense popularity and changed the socio-cultural life of people. Within no time, it made a place in every household of the country. Government took this opportunity and brought this popular mode of communication under its control in 1930 under the Indian Broadcasting System. It was changed to All India Radio in 1936 and to Akashwani in 1957. All India Radio broadcasts a variety of programs related to information, education, and entertainment. Special news bulletins are also broadcast at specific occasions like session of parliament and state legislatures. Television, TV. Television broadcasting has emerged as the most effective audiovisual medium for disseminating information and educating masses. Initially, the TV services were limited only to the national capital where it began in 1959. After 1972, several other centers became operational. In 1976, TV was delinked from All India Radio Air and got a separate identity. 84 India, People and Economy. Exercises, 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 exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. I. In how many zones has the Indian Railways system been divided? A. 9, C. 17. B. 12, D. 14. 2. On which river and between which two places does the National Waterway number 1 lie? A. The Brahmaputra, Siddiyadubri. B. The Ganga, Haldia, Allahabad. C. West Coast Canal, Katapuram to Kollam. 3. In which of the following year the first radio program was broadcast? A. 1911, C. 1927. B. 1936, D. 1923. As Doordarshan, DD. After NCERT National Television, DD1, became operational, common national programs, CNP, were started for the entire network and its services were extended to the backward and remote rural areas. Satellite communication. Satellites are mode of communication in themselves as well as they regulate the use of other means of communication. However, use of satellite in getting a continuous and synoptic view of larger area has made satellite communication very vital for the country due to the economic and strategic reasons. Satellite images can be used for the weather forecast, monitoring of natural calamities, surveillance of border areas, etc. On the basis of configuration and purposes, satellite system in India can be grouped into two: Indian National Satellite System, INSAT, and Indian Remote Sensing Satellite System, IRS. The INSAT, which was established in 1983, is a multi-purpose satellite system for telecommunication, meteorological observation, and for various other data and programs. The IRS satellite system became operational with the launching of IRSI in March 1988 from Baikonur in Russia. India has also developed her own launching vehicle PSLV, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. These satellites collect data in several spectral bands and transmit them to the ground stations for various uses. The National Remote Sensing Center, NRSC, at Hyderabad provides facilities for acquisition of data and its processing. These are very useful in the management of natural resources. Transport and communication. 85. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. Which activity does transportation convey? Name 3 major modes of transportation. 2. Discuss advantages and disadvantages of pipeline transportation. 3. What do you mean by communication? 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Which are the chief means of transportation in India? Discuss the factors affecting their development. 2. Give a detailed account of the development of railways in India and highlight their importance. 3. Describe the role of roads in the economic development of India. Project. Find out the facilities that Indian railways provide to the passengers. Unit 4, Unit 4, Unit 4, Unit 4, Unit 4, Chapter 8. International Trade. You have already studied about the various aspects of international trade in the book Fundamentals of Human Geography. International trade is mutually beneficial as no country is self-sufficient. India's international trade has undergone a sea change in recent years in terms of volume, composition, as well as direction. Although India's contribution in the world trade is as low as 1% of the total volume, yet it plays a significant role in the world economy. Let us examine the changing pattern of India's international trade. In 1950-51, India's external trade was worth 1,214 rupees crore, which rose to Rs. 77,796 crore in 2020-21. Can you calculate the percentage growth in 2020-21 over 1950-51? There are numerous reasons for this sharp rise in overseas trade, such as the momentum picked up by the manufacturing sectors, the liberal policies of the government, and the diversification of markets. The nature of India's foreign trade has changed over the years. Table 8.1. Though there has been an increase in the total volume of import and export, the value of import continued to be higher than that of exports. Changing pa a turn of the composition of India. India's exports ts. Figure 8.1. Extent of gap between exports and imports in India's foreign trade during 2013-14 to 2021-22. Source: Economic Survey 2022-23. International Trade 87. Significant growth in the export. China and other East Asian countries are our major competitors. Gems and jewelry contributes a larger share of India's foreign trade. Study Table 8.3 and select major commodities exported in 2021-22 and draw bar diagram. Changing patterns of the composition of India's import. India faced serious food shortage during 1950s and 1960s. The major item of import at that time was food grain, capital goods, machinery, and equipment. The balance of payment was adverse as imports were more than export in spite of all the efforts of import substitution. After 1970s, food grain import was discontinued due to the success of green. Draw bar diagram to show the trends of exports of all items given in the table. Use pen/pencil of different colors. Table 8.2, Composition of India's export, 2015 to 2022. Percentage share in exports. Source: Economic Survey 2016-17 and 2022-23. The composition of commodities in INDIAS, INTERN, ATION, ALTRADEH, ASBEEN undergoing a change over the years. In export, the share of agriculture and allied products and manufactured goods have decreased, whereas share from crude petroleum and products and other commodities have increased. The share of ore and minerals have largely remained constant over the years from 2015-16 to 2021-22. The decline in traditional items is largely due to the tough international competition. Amongst the agriculture products, there is a decline in the export of traditional items such as cashew, etc., though an increase has been registered in floricultural products, fresh fruits, marine products, and sugar, etc. Manufacturing sector alone accounted for 67.8% of India's total value of export in 2021-22. Engineering goods have shown a. Table 8.1 India's foreign trade. Value in Rs. crore. Source: 2010-11 and Economic Survey 2016-17, 2022-23. Table 8.3 Export of some principal commodities in crore rupees. Source: Economic Survey 2022-23. Revolution. But the energy crisis of 1973 pushed the prices of petroleum, and import budget was also pushed up. Food grain import was replaced by fertilizers and petroleum. Machine and equipment, special steel, edible oil, and chemicals largely make the import basket. Examine the changing pattern of imports in Table 8.4 and try to comprehend the shifts. Table 8.4 shows that there is a rise in the import of petroleum products. It is used not only as a fuel but also as an industrial raw material. It indicates the tempo of rising industrialization and better standard of living. Sporadic price rise in the international market is another reason for the same. It is also noticed that the import of capital goods maintained a steady decline. Import of food and allied products declined. Other major items of India's import include pearls, precious and semi-precious stones, gold and silver, non-metal ferrous metals. The detail of Indian imports of some principal commodities during 2021-22 have been given in Table 8.5. Based on Table 8.5, few activities may be undertaken. Arrange the items in ascending or descending order and write the names of the first 5 major items of India's import list of 2021-22. Why does India import edible oil in spite of being an agriculturally rich country? Select 5 most important and 5 least important items and represent them by bar diagram. Can you identify some items of imports for which substitutes can be developed in India? Source: Economic Survey 2022-23. Table 8.4, India Composition of Import 2015-22. In percentage. International trade, international trade, international trade, international trade, international trade, 89, 89, 89, 89, 89. Has a long tradition of seafaring and developed many ports with place names suffixed with patent meaning port. An interesting fact about ports in India is that its west coast has more ports than its east coast. Direction of trade, direction of trade, direction of trade, direction of trade, direction of trade. India has trade relations with most of the countries and major trading blocs of the world. Region-wise and sub-region-wise trade during the period 2021-22 has been given in Table 8.6. Draw a multiple bar diagram to represent the major trading partners. Most of India's foreign trade is carried through sea and air routes. However, a small portion is also carried through land route to neighboring countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. CPC por orts as GATS as GATS as GATS as GATS as gate T 2 WWWYAAAIYYYYS of S of S of S of S of interna international T Tynal T raid ade. India is surrounded by sea from 3 sides and is bestowed with a long coastline. Water provides a smooth surface for very cheap transport provided there is no turbulence. India aims to double its share in international trade within the next 5 years. It has already started adopting suitable measures such as import liberalization, reduction in import duties, delicensing and change from process to product patents. Table 8.5. Import of some principal commodities. 0.5. 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 Import of some principal commodities in crore rupees. Source: Economic Survey 2022-23. Figure 8.3, Unloading of goods on port. 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 Source: Economic Survey 2016-17 and 2022-23. Table 8.6, Direction of India's import trade. 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 Table 8.6, Direction of India's import trade in crore rupees. India, people and economy have been invited for the modernization of ports in India. The capacity of Indian ports increased from 20 million tons of cargo handling in 1951 to more than 837 million tons in 2016. Some of the Indian ports along with their hinterlands are as follows. Deendayal Port, Kandla Port, situated at the head of Gulf of Kutch, has been developed as a major port to cater to the needs of western and northwestern parts of the country and also to reduce the pressure at Mumbai Port. The port is specially designed to receive large quantities of petroleum and petroleum products and fertilizer. The offshore terminal at Vadanar has been developed to reduce the pressure at the port. Demarcation of the boundary of the hinterland would be difficult as it is not fixed over space. In most of the cases, hinterland of one port may overlap with that of the other. Mumbai is a natural harbor and the biggest port of the country. The port is situated closer to the general routes from the countries of Middle East, Mediterranean countries, North Africa, North America, and Europe, where the major share of countries' overseas trade is carried out. The port is 20 kilometers long and 6 to 10 kilometers wide with 54 berths and has the country's largest oil terminal. MP, Maharashtra, Gujarat, UP and parts of Rajasthan constitute the main hinterlands of Mumbai ports. Jawaharlal Nehru Port at Nhava Sheva was developed as a satellite port to relieve the pressure at the Mumbai port. It is the largest container port in India. Marmagao Port, situated at the entrance of the Zwari estuary, is a natural harbor in Goa. It gained significance after its remodeling in 1961 to handle iron ore exports to Japan. Construction of Konkan Railway has considerably extended the hinterland of this port. Karnataka, Goa, southern Maharashtra constitute its hinterland. New Mangalore port is located in the state of Karnataka and caters to the needs of the export of iron ore and iron concentrates. It also handles fertilizers, petroleum products, edible. Can you find out the reasons for the variations in the location of ports along the two coasts? Though ports have been in use since ancient times, the emergence of ports as gateways of international trade became important after the coming of the European traders and colonization of the country by the British. This led to the variation in the size and quality of ports. There are some ports which have very vast area of influence and some have limited area of influence. At present, India has 12 major ports and 200 minor or intermediate ports. In case of the major ports, the central government decides the policy and plays regulatory functions. The minor ports are there whose policy and functions are regulated by state governments. The major ports handle larger share of the total traffic. The British used the ports as suction points of the resources from their hinterlands. The extension of railways towards the interior facilitated the linking of the local markets to regional markets to national markets, and national markets to the international markets. This trend continued till 1947. It was expected that the country's independence will reverse the process, but the partition of the country snatched away two very important ports, i.e., Karachi port went to Pakistan and Chittagong port to the erstwhile East Pakistan and now Bangladesh. To compensate the losses, many new ports, like the Kandla in the west and the Diamond Harbour near Kolkata on River Hooghly in the east, were developed. Despite this major setback, Indian ports continued to grow after the independence. Today, Indian ports are handling large volumes of domestic as well as overseas trade. Most of the ports are equipped with modern infrastructure. Previously, the development and modernization was the responsibility of the government agencies, but considering the increase in function and need to bring these ports at par with the international ports, private entrepreneurs. International Trade 91. Figure 8.4, India, Major Ports and Sea Routes. India, People and Economy. Oils, coffee, tea, wood pulp, yarn, granite stone, molasses, etc. Karnataka is the major hinterland for this port. Kochi Port, situated at the head of Vembanad Kale, popularly known as the Queen of the Arabian Sea, is also a natural harbor. This port has an advantageous location being close to the Suez-Colombo route. It caters to the needs of Kerala, southern Karnataka and southwestern Tamil Nadu. Kolkata Port is located on the Hooghly River, 128 kilometers inland from the Bay of Bengal. Like the Mumbai port, this port was also developed by the British. Kolkata had the initial advantage of being the capital of British India. The port has lost its significance considerably on account of the diversion of exports to the other ports such as Visakhapatnam, Paradwip and its satellite port, Haldia. Kolkata Port is also confronted with the problem of silt accumulation in the Hooghly River, which provides a link to the sea. Its hinterland covers UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Sikkim and the northeastern states. Apart from this, it also extends ports facilities to our neighboring landlocked countries such as Nepal and Bhutan. Haldia Port is located 105 kilometers downstream from Kolkata. It has been constructed to reduce the congestion at Kolkata Port. It handles bulk cargo like iron, ore, coal, petroleum products and fertilizers, jute products, cotton and cotton yarn, etc. Paradwip is situated in the Mahanadi Delta about 100 kilometers from Cuttack. It has the deepest harbor specially suited to handle very large vessels. It has been developed mainly to handle large-scale export of iron ore. Odisha, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand are the parts of its hinterland. Visakhapatnam Port in Andhra Pradesh is a landlocked harbor connected to the sea by a channel cut through solid rock and sand. An outer harbor has been developed for handling iron ore, petroleum and general cargo. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana are the main hinterland for this port. Chennai Port is one of the oldest ports on the eastern coast. It is an artificial harbor built in 1859. It is not much suitable for large ships because of the shallow waters near the coast. Tamil Nadu and Puducherry are its hinterland. Annur, a newly developed port in Tamil Nadu, has been constructed 25 kilometers north of Chennai to relieve the pressure at Chennai Port. Tuticorin Port was also developed to relieve the pressure of Chennai Port. It deals with a variety of cargo, including coal, salt, food grains, edible oils, sugar, chemicals, and petroleum products. Airports. Air transport plays an important role in the international trade. It has the advantage of taking the least time for carriage and handling high-value or perishable goods over long distances. It is very costly and unsuitable for carrying heavy and bulky commodities. This ultimately reduces the participation of this sector in the international trade as compared to the oceanic routes. There were 25 major airports functioning in the country. Annual Report 2016-17. They are Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Chennai, Delhi, Goa, Guwahati, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai, Tiruvananthapuram, Srinagar, Jaipur, Calicut, Nagpur, Coimbatore, Cochin, Lucknow, Pune, Chandigarh, Mangaluru, Vishakhapatnam, Indore, Patna, Bhubaneswar, and Kannur. Since 2017, under the UDN scheme, a total number of 73 unserved/underserved airports including 9 heliports and 2 water aerodromes have been operationalized. Source: PIB, Ministry of Civil Aviation. Government of India, 2023. You have already studied about the air transport in the previous chapter. You consult the chapter on transport to find out the main features of air transport in India. Name the nearest domestic and international airports from your place. Identify the state with maximum number of domestic airports. Identify 4 cities where maximum number of air routes converge and also give reasons for this. International trade 93. Figure 8.5, India, air routes. Exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. I. Trade between 2 countries is termed as A. Internal trade, C. International trade, B. External trade, D. Local trade. 2. Which one of the following is a landlocked harbor? A. Vishakhapatnam, C. Inner, B. Mumbai, D. Haldia. 3. Most of India's foreign trade is carried through A. Land and C. Sea and air, B. Land and air, D. Sea. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. Mention the characteristics of India's foreign trade. 2. Distinguish between port and harbor. 3. Explain the meaning of hinterland. 4. Name important items which India imports from different countries. V. Name the ports of India located on the east coast. 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Describe the composition of export and import trade of India. 2. Write a note on the changing nature of the international trade of India. Unit V, Chapter 9. Geographical perspective on selected issues and problems. Environmental pollution. Environmental pollution results from the release of substances and energy from waste products of human activities. There are many types of pollution. They are classified on the basis of medium through which pollutants are transported and diffused. Pollution can be classified into I. Air pollution, 2. Water pollution, 3. Land pollution, and 4. Noise pollution. Water pollution. Indiscriminate use of water by increasing population and industrial expansion has led degradation of the quality of water considerably. Surface water available from rivers, canals, lakes, etc. is never pure. It contains small quantities of suspended particles, organic and inorganic substances. When concentration of these substances increases, the water becomes polluted and hence becomes unfit for use. In such a situation, the self-purifying capacity of water is unable to purify the water. The water pollutants are also created from natural sources: erosion, landslides, decay and decomposition of plants and animals, etc. Pollutants from human activities are the real causes of concern. Human beings pollute the water through industrial, agricultural and cultural activities. Among these activities, industry is the most significant contributor. Figure 9.1. Cutting through effluent. Rowing through a pervasive layer of foam on the heavily polluted Yamuna on the outskirts of New Delhi. Table 9.1. Types and sources of pollution. Industries produce several undesirable products including industrial wastes, polluted wastewater, poisonous gases, chemical residuals, numerous heavy metals, dust, smoke, etc. Most of the industrial wastes are disposed off in running water or lakes. Consequently, poisonous elements reach the reservoirs, rivers and other water bodies which destroy the biosystem of these waters. Major water-polluting industries are leather, pulp and paper, textiles and chemicals. Table 9.2. Sources of pollution in the Ganga and the Yamuna rivers. Various types of chemicals used in modern agriculture such as inorganic fertilizers, pesticides and herbicides are also pollution-generating components. These chemicals are washed down to rivers, lakes and tanks. These chemicals also infiltrate the soil to reach the groundwater. Fertilizer induces an increase in the nitrate content of surface waters. Cultural activities such as pilgrimage, religious fairs, tourism, etc. also cause water pollution. In India, almost all. Geographical perspective on selected issues and problems 97. Surface water sources are contaminated and unfit for human consumption. Water pollution is a source of various waterborne diseases. The diseases commonly caused due to contaminated water are diarrhea, intestinal worms, hepatitis, etc. The World Health Organization shows that about 1/4 of the communicable diseases in India are waterborne. The river pollution is common to all rivers, yet pollution of River Ganga flowing through one of the most populous regions of India has caused great concerns among all. To improve the condition of the river, National Mission for Clean Ganga was initiated. The Namami Gange program has been launched for the same. Air pollution. Air pollution is taken as addition of contaminants like dust, fumes, gas, fog, odor, smoke or vapor to the air in substantial proportion and duration that may be harmful to flora and fauna and to property. With increasing use of varieties of fuels as the source of energy, there is a marked increase in emission of toxic gases into the atmosphere, resulting in the pollution of air. Combustion of fossil fuels, mining and industries are the main sources of air pollution. These processes release oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, hydrocarbons, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, lead and asbestos. Air pollution causes various diseases related to respiratory, nervous and circulatory systems. Namami Ganj Program, Namami Ganj Program, Namami Ganj Program, Namami Ganj Program, Namami Ganj Program. Ganga as a river has national importance, but the river requires cleaning by effectively controlling the pollution for its water. The Union government has launched the Namami Ganj program with the following objectives: developing sewerage treatment systems in towns, monitoring of industrial effluents, development of riverfront, afforestation along the bank of increased biodiversity, cleaning of the river surface, development of Ganga grams in Uttarakhand, Up, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal, and creating public awareness to avoid adding pollutants into the river even in the form of rituals. From the source of pollution, i.e. industrial areas, arteries of transportation, airport, etc. Noise pollution is hazardous in many metropolitan and big cities in India. Urban waste disposal, urban waste disposal, urban waste disposal, urban waste disposal, urban waste disposal. Urban areas are generally marked by overcrowding, congestion. Urban areas are generally marked by overcrowding, congestion, inadequate facilities to support the fast-growing population, and consequent poor sanitary conditions and foul air. Environmental pollution by solid wastes has now got significance because of enormous growth in the quantity of wastes generated from various sources. Solid waste refers to a variety of old and used articles, for example stained small pieces of metals, broken glassware, plastic containers, polythene bags, ash, floppies, CDs, etc., dumped at different places. These discarded materials are also termed as refuse, garbage and rubbish, etc., and are disposed of from two sources: I, household or domestic establishments, and 2, industrial or commercial establishments. The household wastes are disposed off either on public lands or on private contractor sites. Smoky fog over cities, called as urban smog, is caused by atmospheric pollution. Proves very harmful to human health. Air pollution can also cause acid rains. Rainwater analysis of urban environment has indicated that pH value of the first rain after summer is always lower than the subsequent rains. Noise pollution. Noise pollution refers to the state of unbearable and uncomfortable to human beings which is caused by noise from different sources. This matter has become a serious concern only in recent years due to a variety of technological innovations. The main sources of noise pollution are various factories, mechanized construction and demolition works, automobiles and aircraft, etc. There may be added periodical but polluting noise from sirens, loudspeakers used in various festivals, programs, associated with community activities. The level of steady noise is measured by sound level expressed in terms of decibels, dB. Of all these sources, the biggest nuisance is the noise produced by traffic because its intensity and nature depend upon factors, such as the type of aircraft, vehicle, train, and the condition of road, as well as that of vehicle in case of automobiles. In sea traffic, the noise pollution is confined to the harbor due to loading and unloading activities being carried. Industries cause noise pollution but with varying intensity depending upon the type of industry. Noise pollution is location-specific and its intensity declines with increase in distance. Figure 9.2. Noise monitoring at Panchpat Malai Bauxite Mine. Geographical perspective on selected issues and problems 99. Whereas the solid wastes of industrial units are collected and disposed off through public, municipal, facilities at low-lying public grounds, landfill areas. The huge turnout of ashes and debris from industries, thermal powerhouses and building constructions or demolitions have posed problems of serious consequences. Solid wastes cause health hazard through creation of obnoxious smell and harboring of flies and rodents, which act as carriers of diseases like typhoid, diphtheria, diarrhea, malaria and cholera, etc. These wastes cause frequent nuisance as and when these are carelessly handled, spread by wind and splittered through rainwater. Concentration of industrial units in and around urban centers gives rise to disposal of industrial wastes. The dumping of industrial waste into rivers leads to water pollution. River pollution from city-based industries and untreated sewage leads to serious health problems downstream. Urban waste disposal is a serious problem in India. In metropolitan cities like Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Bengaluru, etc., about 90% of the solid waste is collected and disposed. But in most of other cities and towns. Case study, case study, case study, case study, case study. A role model to restore the ecology and safeguard a role model to restore the ecology and safeguard a role model to restore the ecology and safeguard a role model to restore the ecology and safeguard a role model to restore the ecology and safeguard human health Indurala. Based on the universal law polluter pays. Effort to restore the ecology and safeguard the human health with people's participation has taken place in Durala near Merit. These efforts are now bearing fruits after a span of 3 years when Merit-based NGO had developed a model for ecological restoration. The meeting of the Durala Industries officials, NGOs, government officials and other stakeholders at Merit has brought out results. The powerful logics, authentic studies and the pressure of people have brought a new lease of life to the 12,000 residents of this village. It was in the year 2003 that the pitiable condition of Doralates drew the attention of the civil society. The groundwater of this village was contaminated with heavy metals. The reason was that the untreated wastewater of Durala Industries was leaching to the groundwater table. The NGO conducted a door-to-door survey of the health status of the residents and came out with a report. The organization, the village community and people's representatives sat together to find out sustainable solutions to the health problem. The industrialists showed a keen interest towards checking the deteriorating ecology. The overhead water tank's capacity in the village was enhanced and a 900 m extra pipeline was laid to supply potable water to the community. The silted pond of the village was cleaned and recharged by desilting it. Large quantity of silt was removed, paving way to large quantity of water so that it recharged the aquifers. Rainwater harvesting structures have been constructed at different places which has helped in diluting the contaminants of the groundwater after the monsoons. 1,000 trees have also been planted which have improved the environment. In the country, about 30 to 50% of the waste generated are left uncollected which accumulate on streets, in open spaces between houses and in wastelands leading to serious health hazards. These wastes should be treated as resource and utilized for generating energy and compost. Untreated wastes ferment slowly and release toxic biogas to the atmosphere, including methane. What do we throw away? Why? Where does our waste end up? Why do ragpickers sort out rubbish dumps? Does it have some value? Is our urban waste worth anything? Rural-urban migration, rural-urban migration, rural-urban migration, rural-urban migration, rural-urban migration. Population flow from rural to urban areas is caused by many factors, like high demand for. At present, 55% of the world's population lives in cities, and more will join them in near future. This proportion is estimated to go up to 68% by 2050. That will put pressure on governments to make urban areas better places to live with optimum infrastructure facilities for desirable quality of life. Urban population grows as a result of natural increase, when birth rate exceeds death rate, net immigration, when people move in and out, and sometimes reclassification of urban areas to encompass formerly rural population settlements. In India, it is estimated that after 1961 around 60% of the urban growth has been attributed and about 29% of them from rural areas to urban migration. Figure 9.3. A view of urban waste in Mahim, Mumbai. Labor in urban areas, low job opportunities in rural areas and unbalanced pattern of development between urban and rural areas. In India, population in cities is rapidly increasing. Due to low opportunities in smaller and medium cities, the poor people generally bypass these small cities and directly come to the megacities for their livelihood. A case study given below to have better understanding of the subject. Read it carefully and try to comprehend the process of rural-urban migration. A case study, a case study, a case study, a case study, a case study. Ramesh has been working in contract as a welder on construction site in Talcher, coal region of Odisha, for the last 2 years. He moved with the contractor to various places like Surat, Mumbai, Gandhinagar, Bharuch, Jamnagar and so on. He remits 20,000 rupees per year to his father in his native village. The remittances have been mainly used for daily consumption, healthcare, schooling of children, etc. Part of the money is also used in agriculture, purchasing of land and building of houses, etc. The standard of living of Ramesh's family improved significantly. 15 years ago, the situation was not the same. The family was passing through very tough times. 3 of his brothers and their families had to survive on 3 acres of land. The family was highly in debt. Ramesh had to discontinue his studies after 9th standard. He was further hard-pressed when he got married. Geographical perspective on selected issues and problems 101. Simultaneously, he was also impressed by some successful outmigrants of his village who had been working in Ludhiana and supporting their families in village by sending money and some consumer goods. Thus, due to abject poverty in the family and perceived job promises at Ludhiana, he made a move to Punjab with his friend. He worked there in a woolen factory for 6 months at the rate of only 20 rupees per day in 1988. Apart from the crisis of managing his personal expenditure from this meager income, he was also facing difficulty in assimilation to the new culture and environment. Then he decided to change his place of work from Ludhiana to Surat under the guidance of his friend. He learnt the skills of welding in Surat, and after that he has been moving to different places with the same contractor. Though the economic condition of Ramesh's family at village improved, he is bearing the pain of separation of his near and dear ones. He cannot shift them with him, as the job is temporary and transferable. Comments. In developing countries, poor, semi-illiterate, and the unskilled like Ramesh migrating from rural areas frequently end up performing menial jobs at low wages in informal sector in urban areas. Since wages are very low to support the family at the place of destination, the spouses are left behind in rural areas to look after children and elderly people. Thus, the rural-urban migration stream is dominated by the males. Prob ob obloms lems of slums. The concept urban or urban center is defined in settlement geography to differentiate it from the rural, about which you have learnt in some previous chapters of this book. You have also learnt in the book entitled Fundamentals of Human Geography that this concept is defined differently in different countries. Both urban and rural settlements are different in their functions, sometimes complementing each other. Apart from these, rural and urban areas have also emerged into two separate cultural, social, political, economic and technological divide. Dharavi, Asia's largest slum. Buses merely skirt the periphery. Autorickshaws cannot go there. Dharavi is part of central Bombay where three-wheelers are banned. Only one main road traverses the slum, the miscalled 90-foot road, which has been reduced to less than half of that for most of its length. Some of the side alleys and lanes are so narrow that not even a bicycle can pass. The whole neighborhood consists of temporary buildings, 2 or 3-stored high with rusty iron stairways to the upper part, where a single room is rented by a whole family, sometimes accommodating 12 or more people. It is a kind of tropical version of the industrial dwelling of Victorian London's East End. But Dharavi is a keeper of more somber secrets than the revulsion it inspires in the rich. A revulsion, moreover, that is, in direct proportion to the role it serves in the creation of the wealth of Bombay. In this place of shadowless, treeless sunlight, uncollected garbage, stagnant pools of foul water, where the only non-human creatures are the shining black crows and long grey rats, some of the most beautiful, valuable and useful articles in India are made. From Dharavi come delicate ceramics and pottery, exquisite embroidery and zari work, sophisticated leather goods, high-fashion garments, finely wrought metalwork, delicate jewellery settings, wood carvings and furniture that would find its way into the richest houses, both in India and abroad. Dharavi was an arm of the sea that was filled by waste, largely produced by the people who have come to live there, scheduled castes and poor Muslims. It comprises rambling buildings of corrugated metal, 20 meters high in places, used for the treatment of hides and tanning. There are pleasant parts, but rotting garbage is everywhere. Seabrook, 1996, pp 50, 51-52. India, which has a predominance of rural population, approximately 69% of the total population in 2011, and where villages were considered the ideal republics by Geographical Perspective on Selected Issues and Problems 103. Mahatma Gandhi, most of the rural areas are still poor-performing primary activities. Here most of the villages exist as appendix to the core urban center forming its hinterland. This may give an impression that urban centers exist as undifferentiated homogeneous entities in opposition to the rural areas. On the contrary, urban centers in India are more differentiated in terms of the socio-economic, politico-cultural, and other indicators of development than any other areas. At the top, there are farmhouses and high-income group localities characterized by well-developed urban infrastructures, like wide roads, streetlights, water and sanitation facilities, lawns, well-developed green belt, parks, playgrounds and provisions for individual security and right to privacy. At the other extreme of it are the slums, juggi-jhopri clusters and colonies of shanty structures. These are inhabited by those people who were forced to migrate from the rural areas to these urban centers in search of livelihood, but could not afford proper housing due to high rent and high costs of land. They occupy environmentally incompatible and degraded areas. Slums are residential areas of the least choice, dilapidated houses, poor hygienic conditions, poor ventilation, lack of basic amenities, like drinking water, light and toilet facilities, etc. Open defecation, unregulated drainage system and overcrowded narrow street patterns are serious health and socio-environmental hazards, and cannot afford to give proper education to their children. The poverty makes them vulnerable to drug abuse, alcoholism, crime, vandalism, escapism, apathy and ultimately social exclusion. Why are the children of slum dwellers deprived of school education? Land degradation, land degradation, land degradation, land degradation, land degradation. The pressure on agricultural land increases not only due to the limited availability but also by deterioration of quality of agricultural land. Soil erosion, waterlogging, salinization and alkalinization of land lead to land degradation. What happens if land is consistently used without managing its fertility? Land is degraded and productivity declines. Land degradation is generally understood either as a temporary or a permanent decline in productive capacity of the land. Though all degraded land may not be wasteland, but unchecked process of degradation may lead to the conversion to wasteland. There are two processes that induce land degradation. These are natural and created by human beings. National Remote Sensing Center, NRSC, has classified wastelands by using remote sensing techniques, and it is possible to categorize these wastelands according to the processes that have created them. There are a few types of wastelands such as gullied/ravenous land, desertic or coastal sands, barren rocky areas, steep sloping land, and glacial areas, which are primarily caused by natural agents. There are other types of degraded lands such as waterlogged and marshy areas. Land affected by salinity and alkalinity and land with or without scrub, which have largely been caused by natural as well as human factors. There are some other types of wastelands such as degraded shifting cultivation area, degraded land under plantation crops, degraded forests, degraded pastures, and mining and industrial wastelands. The Swachh Bharat Mission (SBM) is part of the urban renewal mission launched by the Government of India to improve the quality of life in urban slums. Moreover, most of the slum population works in low-paid, high-risk-prone, unorganized sectors of the urban economy. Consequently, they are the undernourished, prone to different types of diseases and illness. Figure 9.4. Trees planted on common property resources in Jhabua. Source: Evaluation Report, Rajiv Gandhi Mission for Watershed Management, Government of Madhya Pradesh, 2002. Figure 9.5. Community Participation for Land Leveling and Common Property Resources in Jhabua, ASA, 2004. Are caused by human action. Table 12.3 indicates that wastelands caused by man-made processes are more important than natural processes. A case study, a case study, a case study, a case study, a case study. Jhabua district is located in the westernmost agroclimatic zone in Madhya Pradesh. It is, in fact, one of the 5 most backward districts of the country. It is characterized by high concentration of tribal population, mostly Bhils. The people suffer due to poverty, which has been accentuated by the high rate of resource degradation, both forest and land. The watershed management programs funded by both the Ministries of Rural Development and Agriculture, Government of India, have been successfully implemented in Jhabua district, which has gone a long way in preventing land degradation and improving soil quality. Watershed management programs acknowledge the linkage between land, water, and vegetation and attempts to improve livelihoods of people through natural resource management and community participation. In the past 5 years, the programs funded by the Ministry of Rural Development alone, implemented by Rajiv Gandhi Mission for Watershed Management, has treated 20% of the total area under Jhabua district. The Petlavud block of Jhabua is located in the northernmost part of the district and represents an interesting and successful case of government NGO partnership and community participation in managing watershed programs. The Bhils in Petlavud block, for example, Satrundi hamlet of Karavat village, through their own efforts, have revitalized large parts of common property resources. Each household planted and maintained 1 tree on the common property. They also have planted fodder grass on the pasture land and adopted social fencing of these lands for at least 2 years. Even after that, they say there would be no open grazing on these lands, but stall feeding of cattle, and they are thus confident that the pastures they have developed would sustain their cattle in future. An interesting aspect of this experience is that before the community embarked upon the process of management of the pasture, there was encroachment on this land by a villager from an adjoining village. The villagers called the Tahsildar to ascertain the rights of the common land. The ensuing conflict was tackled by the villagers by offering to make the defaulter encroaching on the CPR a member of their user group and sharing the benefits of greening the common lands/pastures. See the section on CPR in chapter Land Resources and Agriculture. Geographical Perspective on Selected Issues and Problems 105. Exercises, 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 exercises. 1. Choose the right answers of the following from the given options. I. Which one of the following river is highly polluted? A. Brahmaputra, C. Yamuna. B. Satluj, D. Godavari. 2. Which one of the following diseases is caused by water pollution? A. Conjunctivitis, C. Respiratory infections. B. Diarrhea, D. Bronchitis. 3. Which one of the following is the cause of acid rain? A. Water pollution, C. Noise pollution. B. Land pollution, D. Air pollution. 4. Push and pull factors are responsible for A. Migration, C. Slums. B. Land degradation, D. Air pollution. 2. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. I. What is the difference between pollution and pollutants? 2. Describe the major source of air pollution. 3. Mention major problems associated with urban waste disposal in India. 4. What are the effects of air pollution on human health? 3. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. I. Describe the nature of water pollution in India. 2. Describe the problem of slums in India. 3. Suggest measures for reduction of land degradation. 106 India, People and Economy. Source, Census of India, 2011. Appendix I. India, State-wise Population Distribution, Density and Growth, 2011. Appendices 107. Appendix 2. India, Decadal Birth Rate, Death Rate and Rate of Natural Increase, 1901 to 2011. Asterisk source, Sample Registration System, SRS, Bulletin, October 2012. Appendix 3. India, Rural and Urban Population, 2011. Appendices 109. Appendix 4. India, Percent of Population of Religious Groups. Source, Census of India, 2011. 110 India, People and Economy. Appendix V. India, Work Participation Rate and Occupation Structure, 2011. Source, Census of India, 2011. Appendices 111. Appendix 6. Table 1. Land Use Categories in India 2014 to 15. Source, Land Use Statistics 2014 to 2015. Directorate of Economics and Statistics, DAC and FW. Table 2. India's Position in World Agriculture. Source, Faustat as on December 23, 2020, Pocketbook of Agriculture Statistics, 2020. 112 India, People and Economy. Table 3. 3 largest producing states of major crops during 2019 to 20 production, million tons. Appendices 113. Source, Directorate of Economics and Statistics, Pocketbook of Agricultural Statistics, 2020. Asterisk production estimates are as per 4th advance estimates. At production in million bales of 170 kilograms each. Dollar production in million bales of 180 kilograms each. Table 3 continued. Production million tons. Glossary 115. Agroclimatic, the climatic and land resource conditions in totality which are crucial for the development of agriculture and allied economic conditions of a region. The climatic and land resource conditions in totality which are crucial for the development of agriculture and allied economic conditions of a region. Aquifer. A saturated geological unit, e.g. sands, gravels, fractured rock, which can yield water to wells at a sufficient rate to support a well. Artificial recharge to groundwater. Artificial recharge to groundwater means the process by which groundwater reservoir is augmented at a rate exceeding that under natural condition of replenishment. Command area. The area served by a canal system through supply of water for irrigation and other purposes. Culturable command area. It refers to the culturable land irrigated by a canal system. It is different from gross command area. The later includes all the area served by a canal system including unculturable. Eco-development. The process of development of a region by means of conservation and regeneration of degraded ecosystem and ecological sustainability. Emigration. Movement of people from one place to another, usually from one country to another with the purpose of earning, living, residing and settling. Extensive irrigation. A strategy of irrigation development where the emphasis is on providing irrigation water for a large area. Per unit area use of water is low in this case. Flow system or channel. A channel of canal where water flows under the influence of gravity. Groundwater. Groundwater means the water which exists below the ground surface in the zone of saturation and can be extracted through wells or any other means or emerges as springs and base flows in streams and rivers. Groundwater table. The top of the zone in which all pore spaces or fissures are totally filled with water. Immigration. Movement of a person as a permanent resident into another area, usually into a foreign country. Intrusive irrigation. A strategy of irrigation development where per unit application of water is high. Lift system or channel. A channel of canal where water is forced to flow against the slope of land by upliftment. Migration. Movement of the people for the specific purpose from one place to another in the country or to a foreign country. Migration stream. Migration stream refers to a group of migrants with the common origin and destination. GLOSSA. Net migration or balance of migration, the difference of total numbers of persons arrived in and left out the place. In other words, it is sum of in migrants and immigrants minus sum of out migrants and emigrants. In mathematical term, it is defined as net migration. In migrants plus immigrants, out migrants plus emigrants. Rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting is the technique of collection and storage of rainwater at surface or in subsurface aquifer. Refugee. People who are forced to take shelter in other country due to life-threatening situation, insecurity, war, or violation of human rights in their own country. Remittance. All cash or kind sent by the migrants to their place of origin. Money order is one form of remittance. Transhumance. The practice of seasonal migration where the pastoral communities migrate to the pastures along with their herds during summer season. These communities return to their permanent residence in winter. Ware-Bondi system. It is a system of equitable distribution of water in the command area of canal outlet. Watershed. A watershed is a natural geohydrological unit of land, which collects water and drains it through a common point by a system of streams. Such a unit can be a small area of a few hectares, or it could be an area of hundreds of square kilometers like the Ganga River Basin.